And now a bloop into shallow left center field. That will drop. After a diving miss by Antonacci, one run is home, and Thomas is going to slide in on a 2-out, 2-run base hit for Vinny. And down goes Peters looking. And that is 4 strikeouts for Seth Lugo tonight, and exactly 1,000 for his career. White Sox got 2 in the 5th and 1 in the 7th, and that is blasted deep left center field and gone for Bobby Witt Jr. And it's a 1-run game in the 9th.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. Tons of stuff to get into and talk about today. Should be a fun show. We have some Royals baseball to talk. That won't be the fun part of the show.
No.
We have some Chiefs football to talk. That's always fun, I think, except for last year when a number of things took place. But I think there's a lot of fun and enjoyment of heading into this year, and some expectations and some hope and some promise. Excitement, even with the background of a 6-11 season and the unknown about Patrick Mahomes and his knee. And we get more and more of the slow drip of the schedule release with the Kansas City Chiefs. We know that they will be playing week 1 against the Denver Broncos, Monday Night Football at home. And we know that Thanksgiving night, they will be heading to Buffalo for Thanksgiving night for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see what other games may be released that include the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just waiting for the Christmas Day game to be announced that the Chiefs are a part of it. I figured they would be a part of that 3-day extravaganza of Thanksgiving. Either the Thanksgiving Eve, a Thanksgiving game, or Black Friday Thanksgiving. And we know the Black Friday game is Broncos and Steelers. Well, that'll be a fun one. Whew. Yeah, sure. Let me set my calendar and a reminder for that thing. I'll be watching it, 1, for AFC playoff implications, 2, whatever money I've placed on the game in certain ways, and 3, if I have any fantasy players. Other than that, that doesn't sound like a very enjoyable game to sit back and just watch on a Black Friday. But, you know, that's just me and my haterism of the Broncos and Steelers and what could be 2 boring teams that, you know, go up against each other. We'll see. Mike McCarthy, new coach, so maybe you're not the running the ball, and we'll see if Ron will be quarterbacking the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll see if Bo Nix will be quarterbacking the Denver Broncos at that time, or had they moved on to Jarrett Stidham at that point from Bo Nix. We'll see. There are other games that are being released. We know, we talked about it yesterday, no international games for the Chiefs. That's great. The rest of the schedule will be released tonight. Michael Darcy will be on the air at 6 o'clock with our Sports Radio 810 schedule release show. 7 o'clock, Westwood 1, and get some national perspective on what the schedule looks like across the league, and certainly we'll have the local take with Michael. And then at 9 o'clock, when the Westwood 1 coverage ends, Michael will be right back on the air with the night shift to break down the full schedule, to give your predictions. And I'm going to guess Michael probably has a quick, let's run through the games and see what the win-loss record is. We'll do that tomorrow. Very quick early glance that Sterling and Michael will be held to. I will withhold the right to change as the offseason goes along. But Sterling and Michael, this is going to be their official prediction for the season tomorrow, specifically
seems
for
fair.
them. Yeah, totally.
That seems fair.
I want to make it as fair as possible so that we're all on an even playing ground.
Well, of course.
That's what I want it to be.
Of course.
You know, and I think that's the best way to do it, to make sure we're all on even playing field and nobody gets any special treatment around here.
Yeah,
all right,
because we're so good that we have to have that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, I suck at predictions. You guys kill it. So tomorrow you will weigh in on your official predictions for the Chiefs. Not able to change it at any point. I will give my early thoughts on that with the right to change it at any point until the season starts on week 1.
We've
September
played
14th.
fact or fiction. I've never lost. I've never gotten one wrong. So
yeah, and that's fiction. So we can keep playing that. We'll play some sports or leisure today. Looking forward to that in the 1 o'clock hour. Got some Royals questions. I've got some Chiefs-Broncos questions because when I was putting these things together, it was really the only game we knew of was Chiefs-Broncos week 1. And it's been this big debate and, crying from those fans west of Kansas City. So we'll go through in sports or leisure. One of the categories will be players that played for both the Chiefs and the Broncos that are well-known players for both the Chiefs and the Broncos. We'll do that as well. Coming up an hour from now, Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We'll hang out with him, get his thoughts on the last couple of weeks since we've talked with him. Was right after the draft, that Thursday when the draft was over. We haven't talked to him since, but are there areas of improvement the Chiefs need to look at? Are there players that may be of, let's say, value or lower risk that the Chiefs would want to go out and get or look into, or somebody that he may want them to go out and get? We'll look at the Devon Achane contract and compare that to K9, Kenneth Walker, KW the third, and his contract, and also what Achane does overall that is different than Kenneth Walker. So we'll get into that coming up in the show as well. Jesse Newell had a really good piece at The Athletic about the Chiefs' winners and losers, or just winners of the offseason for individual players. And so I do want to look at that because I think it's of interest with that. Coming up at noon, I'm pumped about this one, okay? There's sometimes when we do an interview and it's like, okay, we're doing this for the listeners. I think this is one of those that's going to be both. Like at Tahoe, the interview that we did with Michael Pena was, I don't care if you like him or not. I'm doing the interview in Tahoe with Michael Pena and not really talking sports. This one's for me, okay? This one's for John. This one's for me. And I have said when it comes to Michael Pena, I'm a season ticket holder. So if he's in it, I'm watching it. So looking forward to that interview. Loved it. It was great. It was fun. And he was more involved and excited about doing the interview than I imagined he would be. It's always good to meet your heroes. That's what they say. Always meet your heroes. But today at noon, we're going to be talking with two people at the same time. And that is Joe Posnanski and Michael Scheer. They have written a book. They've done a lot of things together, by the way, over the years, with the podcast that they've had out for a long time. They've been friends for a long time. Michael Scheer from Saturday Night Live, The Office, co-creator of Parks and Rec, one of, if not my favorite TV show of all time. Michael Scheer, while being that writer and comedic mind, was also the creator of Fire Joe Morgan back in the day, one of the original blogs on the internet. It was sort of awful announcing before awful announcing. It was labeled Fire Joe Morgan because it was like Sunday Night Baseball. You had Joe Morgan on the broadcast, and he was so old school that it was like on-base percentage is dumb. You're not there to walk. Who cares about these new analytics? And it was just sort of covering the media and different absurd things that would be said from Michael Scheer, who was writing it, the Fire Joe Morgan blog, and also on Twitter, Ken Tremendous. That was Michael Scheer, and I think that's how he and Joe Posnanski became friends. They've been doing a podcast called The Poscast since 2008. So one of the original sort of podcasts that were out there when it was like, oh, let's get together and do this talky thing. And now everybody has a podcast. I'm putting a podcast together for my dog. He's just going to bark and make different noises. And then other dogs can listen and communicate back with him. It's going to be a huge thing. It's a big deal. I'm trying to get ahead of the next wave of podcasts. But they've got a book coming out called Big Fans, where they have traveled the globe to many different odd sporting events that in that town are huge events, and brings out fans from all over the place, from a darts competition to like a chess match to a lot of different things, and baseball games and all these different things that they have done. And they have each traveled either together or individually throughout all these things, and they have put it in a book and sort of discussed and looked at, and I think a little bit of analyzing what it is like and why we have, maybe as humans, certainly in this country, but other countries as well, because we see soccer hooligans, but why there is such a connection with certain sports and why we have a fandom of certain sports. I think a lot of it, certainly for me, is civic pride. You know, I'm not a contrarian that it's like, oh, everybody in Kansas City loves the Chiefs, I love the Raiders. Okay, my dad loves this, I'm rooting against that, just to be a contrarian. No, I'm more of like, go with the flow, peer pressure, and I just want to fit in. I just want to be liked, folks. That's really what it is. I just want to be liked. If you don't like me, I'm going to do whatever I can to make you like me, even if it is at the expense of other people that do like me. And then I'll have to then try to get them to like me. It's a vicious circle, okay? I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat, okay? It's a vicious circle. Fat bastard. But Joe Posnanski and Michael Schur will join us coming up at noon. They've got this book that comes out, and we'll talk with them about the book. They also have a book tour. May 21st, they will be in Kansas City at the Rainy Day Books Unity Temple. It'll be a roundtable hosted by Jason Kander. I do wonder if like Bob Kendrick will be there, because that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
If he's there as well. But they are only doing a 5-city tour. Only 5 cities: New York, Boston, St. Louis, KC, and LA are the only 5 cities they're going to. Kansas City on the 21st. They will both be here, and they'll be talking about this book and probably many other things. And I've discussed it before that Joe Posnanski wrote my favorite book of all time, and that is The Soul of Baseball. It is an absolute brilliant piece of writing, and if you are a fan of Buck O'Neil, then just simply read the book. It was fortunate while also being sad at the same time, in that Joe followed Buck O'Neil around for a year as he was lobbying to get the Negro Leagues players into the Hall of Fame. And so Joe Posnanski just follows him on the road in these amazing stories from Buck O'Neil, some that we haven't heard before that are put into writing, and we have it forever. But it also happened to be the last year of Buck O'Neil's life. And so it's an incredible book, and it is my favorite book of all time. And then Michael Schur is the co-creator of one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So this may be an indulge me at noon with those guys, but I'll try to make it to where other people will enjoy it too. But honestly, if it doesn't work out that way, I don't care.
Yeah, Michael Schur for me with The Office.
The Office, right,
is huge.
I get it.
And then obviously Joe Posnanski, growing up as a kid who read the newspaper every single morning before school, seeing him in his articles in the KC Star, I thought that was so cool. I mean, I was that kid that woke up every morning with the newspaper and read the sports page.
You were the one who stuffed in lockers. That makes sense. With your newspaper.
Well, I could read in there. I had a flashlight I kept in there.
A little nightlight.
It was great.
A little reading light. But one of the things I do want to talk about with Joe Posnanski is, we discussed when the Royals were announcing where they were moving downtown, when the initiative happened with the city council and Mayor Q about getting this Washington Square, quotes, Washington Square Park location that we know is now Crown Center location for downtown baseball, and just where downtown Kansas City is now versus where it was when I was growing up and it was a ghost town. And I've made the joke a number of times, and it really isn't a joke, but like if you ended up downtown, it's, may have taken a wrong turn somewhere, got lost. Now it's a destination. You go downtown for certain things. And that was T-Mobile, it's Power and Light, the streetcar, now with the baseball stadium. And I'm just curious from Joe Posnanski's perspective of being in Kansas City as a columnist, from what it was then to what downtown will look like in 2030, 2031, with the Royals Stadium, Kauffman Stadium being downtown. So, and sort of connecting from the riverfront to T-Mobile to now the stadium at Crown Center to the plaza. So we'll talk with him about that, but plenty of other things too. So I think we have scheduled 2 hours with them starting at noon. They're going to play Sports or Leisure with us, I think. That's the plan. So that's what the show looks like today. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about. Royals, shall we?
We shall.
Royals are now 2-4 against the White Sox this year. It's a far cry from a couple of years ago when they dominated the White Sox and the rest of the American League claimed the only reason the Royals made the postseason is because they got to play the White Sox that many times. The Royals sit 4 games out of first place, and they have played regrettable baseball. It's not just some bad baseball, but to me it's regrettable baseball because this was the wrong season and the wrong schedule to start off playing as poor as they played. And the reason is they have played more division games this year than any other team in Major League Baseball. Today will be their 20th divisional game, which is 3 more than any other team in baseball. Not just their own division, because the rest of the AL Central, the most anybody has played is 10. They will have played double the games of anybody else in the American League Central when they finish up today. That's why I call it regrettable baseball. Because at the end of the season, you're going to regret how badly you played to start the year. Because if you're playing good baseball later on, and I think they're playing better baseball now, they're 12-9 in their last 21 games. It just happened to be that they started 7-16. So that's rough. So or I guess now 12-8. I guess 12-8 now because 7-16 and then being 19-24. So 7-16, 12-8 since then. Playing better baseball, right? Okay.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. They were 4-3 last week in this 10-game stretch of American League Central teams. 4-3 with 3 games left against the White Sox to cap off this 10-game stretch of division opponents. And they have taken this opportunity that they earned. The opportunity they earned by going 4-3 last week. They had other opportunities that they did not take advantage of, that is, to take 3 or 4 from the Guardians to sweep the Tigers. But they sat 4-3, and if you go to Chicago and win the series, you're 6-4 out of the 10 games in the American League Central. You'll take that. I would take that. 600 winning percentage against your division. I don't care who the teams are that you're playing in your division. But now the best they can do is get to 500. And that's avoiding a sweep today. And it is, I said last night, it was a pretty damn big game for this team to go out and find a way to win. And they didn't do it. And I think this is going to be something they regret later on in the season by playing so many divisional games early that at the end of the year, you won't have the opportunities to get those head-to-head games to catch a team in the standings by beating them that night. Because there may be a time where you're playing great baseball and the Tigers are struggling, but you can't play them. Or the Guardians are struggling and you can't match up with them at that time. Or there may be a time later on in the year where the White Sox just implode. That right now the White Sox don't know they're not supposed to be doing this. You take a bad team, you give them confidence early in the year, they start to believe that they're a good team. And you've already played, you've played 6 games. This will be 7 games today against a team expected to finish last, and the best you can go in those 7 is 3-4. Where maybe in August or September, you might have gone 7-0.
Yeah.
It's regrettable baseball. It's some bad baseball. And whatever that they had in 2024, whatever it was that was that it's just, man, they're doing it, the boys are playing some ball, has evaporated from the 2025 season to this year because it doesn't seem to be that we see a team that has sort of
They just can't put it together in a game. The offense will be fine, put up 5 runs, but yet they leave so many guys on base and cannot come through. What was it? Salvi struck out with
bases loaded. Out.
He strikes out. Strikeout. Lofton did a nice job, got a nice little sac fly, but at that point you
right. Strikeout, sac fly. Right.
But it's just a multitude of almost a comedy of errors, where you put up 5 runs back-to-back games, where early in the year that is getting you 2 easy wins, but not right now because your starting pitching has regressed to bad, quite frankly. You have multiple holes. Cole Reagans has pitched bad and then got injured. Stephen Cole gets a chance to take a job, has his first non-quality start as a Royal. Noah Cameron's been, let's be real, atrocious all year long. Seth Lugo takes them out. All right, you got a stopper on here. You got a veteran out here who's, for the most part, pitched really well this season. He can go deep into a game. He can figure it out. Against the White Sox, it goes out and gets shelled. Just brutal. 8 hits given up, 2 walks. Just atrocious. And then the bullpen, we know the bullpen's been inconsistent. Schreiber's just, I don't know, man. You
don't trust him?
I told you. Hey, that one was correct, was it not?
Well, that was only your opinion. It had to be. There was no way of that being incorrect.
Well, I was right. I don't trust him, and he gave me a good reason not to trust him.
You shouldn't.
I think the frustration also lies, and this is not a Bobby Witt Jr. This is a team issue.
Your frustration is with Bobby?
No, he's been phenomenal. But how apropos is it they hit a home run in the 9th to lose by 1?
Down 3, and you get a guy on, and Michael's up there, and he was just bound and determined to salvage that thing. I have to swing at this pitch outside. I've stopped myself twice, and I've come closer and closer to getting rung up on a check swing. The first check swing was wasn't really all that close. Second check swing was borderline. It could have gone either way. Third one, I'm just going to fully swing. Like, I really want – this guy's not going to throw it even further outside. Like, it was as salvy as it gets. And just base runners, base runners, base runners. And at that point, if I'm facing Bobby – if he hits a 2-run shot off me, okay, then I'll have to deal with that. But I'm not going to walk Bobby and get to what we all expected would happen, which would be Jack.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pitch to Bobby, and if he hits it, whatever.
And he did. A great job by Bobby. It's not.
Yes.
This is not, again, a knock on Bobby. It's a knock on the Royals where it does feel like how often this season they're down 3 heading into the 9th or something along those lines. They score 2, and they lose by 1, and you go, well, the offense was fine. They only lost by 1.
In extra innings, they were down 7-2, and Lofton had the bases clearing
awesome.
double, so it's 7-5. And the next 2 guys get out. It was like, oh, well, if you took those 3 runs and put them in an inning before, you win the game. And if you take your 10 runs that you scored and the White Sox 12 runs that they scored, and if you just lost 12-0 in one game and the other game you won 10-0, you're 1-1. But you found a way to lose 6-5 twice.
It just feels like, again, we've had the same conversation back-to-back days of where you can find a decent amount of positives. You find Bobby Witt doing what he did. You find Steven Cruz, I think, looking decent. Carter Jensen pinch hits and comes through both times.
Yeah.
I don't love him stretching into a double. I love it because he was safe.
Thank God.
But that was
it was a hell of a throw, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
He was banking on there's no way this guy is going to his right, spinning and throwing a dart and a dime. And it was.
Lofton, yet again, makes a nice addition to this team, just doing smart plays. The sac fly, I thought, was nice to see from Nick Lofton.
Yeah.
Starling Marte, hilariously again, with another outfield assist.
Yep.
But you lose. And then the same thing was yesterday. Bobby hit a home run, Vinny hits a home run, and you...
Salvi
hits a home run, and you lose. Mm-hmm. At some point, these... moral victories, it's nice to see because it makes you think there's a breakout coming, but how many times have we said they feel like they're close? They're right around the corner. They're close. Mm-hmm. We saw a little stretch, but it wasn't this torrid stretch of greatness. It was, okay, they played about what we thought they were going to be for the whole year. It's not like they went 12-2?
Yeah, right.
We were like, oh, wow.
16-2 like they did last year when they started off terrible and then went 16-2 over 18 games. It was like, okay, they're back in it. They can win this division.
They went on like a 12-8 stretch. That's probably
it's
fairly close to what we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, good baseball, but,
solid baseball. It just, I don't know what to make of this team because it just feels like in big-time moments, they almost all have puckered, besides, like, Nick Lofton, shockingly, has been one of the best guys, it feels like, with good situational baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. He's coming through. The Royals' strength has to be the strength, and it hasn't been. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. And, look, I think there are some real concerns for a guy we saw last night, and we'll talk about what those concerns are for Seth Lugo, and we'll also eat some pizza today from Dewey's. What do you got? You're
real
raising
quick,
your hand?
I just because I think
raising your hand. Sterling. Go for Sterling.
Go for Sterling. Incredible from Nick Lofton. Runners in scoring position. Nick Lofton is hitting .455, On base at 529, slugging 636, OPS nearly 1,200, and he is yet to strike out with runners in scoring position.
As a pinch hitter, he's perfect. He's 3 for when he is simply a pinch hitter. He's 3 for 3 in 4 at bats, and the only at bat he did not get a hit, he hit a sac fly. All 4 times he has come through with either a sac fly or a base hit. Also, those 3 hits, 2 of them are doubles.
As a Nick Lofton non-supporter early in his career, as a guy who said, I don't understand why he's on the roster for about 3 straight seasons.
You idiot.
I have to give credit where credit's due because he's been great, and so I will sing praises of Nick Lofton and what he's done so far.
Yep, sing for the left and sing for the tier.
Lofton.
Sing with him. Sing for today. Chris Bubich needs to come out and hit all the notes when he's on the mound. Pitching for the Royals because the strength has to be the strength. We'll talk about that and the concerns that are going on with one particular pitcher. And, of course, our coverage of the PGA Championship getting underway today. Sterling's pumped about it. You've got money on Bryson?
No.
What? Why don't you have money on Bryson? Come on, dummy.
The guy who has the longest wedges of all time. 3D prints.
That's what happened to you when you showed up with the Kansas City Star in your hand. You got some wedgies at school, too. Our sponsors, First Business Bank, Bobsite Auto Group, Back 9 Golf, and Dewey's Pizza, sponsoring our PGA Tour coverage. And today, we got a little Dewey's Pizza that's stopping by and taking care of us. And Dewey's Pizza and Ranch Mart taking pizza to the next level. And for a limited time, they got the brand new Korean barbecue pizza. We're going to get to try that. I'm pumped about that one. Sweet chili sauce, mozzarella, kimchi, soy brown sugar, caramelized onions, diced Korean barbecue chicken thighs, pickled ginger, Kopi mayo, chili crisp, and parsley and cilantro mix after the bake. Dewey's Pizza, looking forward to that. So check out Dewey's Pizza off 95th and Mission in Ranch Mart and see for yourself what separates Dewey's. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk about what has been separating the Royals from the last couple of years and this year, because the strength is not the strength. Next.
Golf season is in full swing, and it's time to get your game and golf ready for the next level. For the course, the Back 9 at Overland Park in Liberty is more than just a simulator. It's a community for businesses, busy moms and dads, and golfers of every skill level. It's open 24/7. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators, it's the same technology used and trusted by the pros. And again, 24/7 might be the best part. Let's say it's, your kid wakes you up early. You're like, all right, I'm up at 4 a.m. What am I going to do? I'm going to go back to bed? Or I could go to the Back 9 and play 18 holes in like 40 minutes. That's what I would do. Let's say it's 11 o'clock. You get off work. You're tired. You're exhausted, but you don't want to go home. Go to the Back 9. And by the way, you can bring your own food and beverages. You know me, that is exactly what I do. They have 2 very convenient locations. Overland Park, just off of 75th and Metcalf. That's the one that I go to. Also one in Liberty, just north of the Liberty Triangle. I'm telling you, too, these simulators are phenomenal. As a left-handed golfer, I play with Zach in sales all the time. He's righty. They come from over the top. They analyze your swing, and there's none of this lefty-righty. You got to move the machine back and forth. It's a nightmare. All of a sudden, that 45 hour-and-a-half long 18 holes you wanted to play, well, now that's 2.5 hours, 3 hours. No. Not over here at the Back 9. It is quick, it is efficient, and it is perfect. It helped fix my swing. My driver has never been better, and that's all been thanks to the Back 9. So what you need to do, go to the back9golf.com and check it out. Again, Overland Park and Liberty.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy coming up at 11 o'clock. We'll talk with Matt Lane, KCSN, KC Laboratory Podcast coming up at noon. Joe Posnanski and Michael Schur as their book comes out in 5 days on May 19th. The book Big Fan. We'll talk with them about that and many other things with Joe Posnanski and Michael Schur coming up at noon, Sports or Leisure at 1 o'clock. I talked about the strength being the strength, that this Royals team has to be a team that we discussed on Monday with Jack as we were getting ready for, or maybe it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday, actually, as we were getting ready for Game 2 of the White Sox and Royals last night, and what was a pretty crucial game. But the strength being the strength is, how did they make the playoffs in 2024? They made the playoffs because their starting pitching was awesome. The bullpen was coming through. They added Urseg and things like that. Like, it was pitching, and they found a way to score enough runs. They had a chance to sweep the Tigers. They were sitting at 4-2 in the homestand with a chance to go 5-2. They have lost 3 games in a row. And in that time, Noah Cameron pitched 4 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, but 7 base runners. Kolek went out there, 4 2/3, gave up 5. And then you got Lugo last night. Kolek's line of 5 innings, 5 earned runs, 10 base runners is not good enough for that. Oh, wait, that was Lugo. That wasn't Kolek. We talked about Kolek like, was the moment too big for him in an opportunity to pitch for your job, and he didn't come through. I don't know what's better or worse. Is it better to have an outing where you go 4 2/3, you don't make it out of the 5th, but they only score against you in 1 inning? It sort of fell apart, and you gave up 5 runs, 3 of them on 1 swing to Chase Mydroth, a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs, that you're talking about 1 pitch away from pitching 5 innings and 2 earned runs. That's not the case because you left 1 in the middle and Mydroth took advantage of it. Or pitching a full 5 innings and only have 2 innings against the White Sox where you didn't give up a run, which is what Seth Lugo did last night. 0, 2 runs, 1 run, 0, 2 runs. I mean, 1 big inning where you go, man, for 4 other innings, he was fine. He was doing what he should be doing, and then it blew up. Then it just got to him. Lugo, it was constant. It was consistent. It was guys getting on, 10 base runners, 8 hits in 5 innings, 2 walks in 5 innings, a whip of 2 in the game against the White Sox. The Royals cannot win the division if they have to score 6 or 7 runs per game. Back-to-back games scoring 5 should be good enough to win at least 1 game against the White Sox. And the issue, Sterling, is dating back to last year on July 28th, when the Royals signed Seth Lugo to the extension.
Yeah.
Since that, I'll do before and after. So heading into that extension that he signed, for the Royals, he started 52 games, 319 innings, which comes out to roughly 6 2/3 per start for 52 games, pitching into the 7th inning. 2 outs in the 7th inning was the average for Seth Lugo for 52 starts with the Royals. A 2.98 ERA and a .8 whip. And over 3 strikeouts to walk ratio. Over 3. He signed the contract extension. He has made 16 starts. 85 innings, which is roughly 5 1/3. He's pitching into the 6th. But that's an inning and a third less on average than what he did before that. And this is for 16 starts. 5.51 ERA. 1.65 whip. Literally double the whip. Almost double the ERA. And almost cut in half the strikeout to walk ratio of 1.75 strikeout to walk ratio versus a 3.1. 85 innings, he's walked 41 batters in 85 innings since he signed the contract. they still owe him almost $40 million on that contract. Because 21.5 next year, the remainder prorated of 21.5 this year, 21.5 next year, and then a $3 million buyout on a team option. So 24.5 next year. He has to figure it out, or that thing's going to continue to look worse and worse. 3 of the last 4 starts, he's given up 7 runs, 4 runs, and 5 runs. And the 4 runs that he gave up was in 4 innings.
What's frustrating is it felt like to start the year he figured it out.
I agree.
Because the first 5 starts,
he looked
1,
good.
2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He had a 1.15 ERA.
Yep.
Through 5 starts.
And now what have happened the last 4? It's fallen apart.
He's had 1 good outing since then. That was the Seattle game.
Yep, 6 innings, 2 earned runs.
I don't know what to make of him.
Yeah.
I don't know because the fielding independent pitching still looks really good for the year. It's a 2.69, which excellent. His overall ERA in the year looks great, but the trend is not heading the correct way. The Baseball Savant page looks brutal. So I think there's a there's a way to look at it and be positive. I do think there is a way to look at Lugo and what he's done and say, hey, pitchers get shelled. They're going to have bad outings.
They're going to have a rough stretch.
A rough stretch. The issue with Lugo is when he gets in a rough stretch, it feels like it's hard for him to bust out because we saw that last year. When he got to the rough stretch, it was, oh bleep, it's snowballing on him.
Mm-hmm. In the last 2 starts, he's gone 9 innings and given up 9 earned runs.
And that's just unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't expect the first 5 starts for him to have a 1.15 ERA and have that all year long.
Because right now he's got a 3.76.
And if he ended the year with a 3.76, I think we're all happy and thrilled. But
I'd take it right now.
The issue is it's not trending that way. His last 4 starts, it's been skyrocketing. I mean, he went from a 1.15 to 3.76 in 4 starts. That's just tough.
He's given up 21. He's had 21 base runners in the last 2 games with a total of 9 innings pitched. And he struck out 9.
And again, with a guy at his age, you have to worry, but he's never been a fastball first guy, and that's always going to be his worst pitch. So for him, he should age a little great. And he's not that old. Even for pitching standards, we've seen pitchers, DeGrom still doing his thing. Hell, Verlander's still pitching, even though his hair looks like Santa Claus at this point. I'm concerned with Lugo, but I don't think I'm hitting the panic button just yet.
My finger's on the panic button for Lugo. It's squarely on the panic button.
But can it? I mean, I guess it can be.
I can take my hand off it.
I guess for me, the point I'm almost alluding to is it can't be because Noah Cameron's been worse, Cole Reagans has been worse and injured, and Stephen Kolek, you still don't know what you have. And oh, by the way, Ryan Bergert's injured.
Yeah.
So you're sticking with Lugo. It's going to be a Jordan Lyles situation where...
Yeah, you're sticking with him, but I think that's where the panic button comes in. Is you're sticking with him. You don't really have a choice. You're almost contractually obligated to stick with him. I mean, you owe him still like $17 million the rest of this year and $21.5 next year with a $3 million buyout. You're not going to pick up the team option of like $21 million after that. So that means next year you're going to owe him $24.5 million because you're going to have to pay that buyout of $3 million and the $21.5. If he turns it around and pitches well, then hey, great. You know what? You made the decision at the time. Instead of trading Seth Lugo, you gave him the contract extension. It's now Seth Lugo's turn to repay the Royals and JJ and the front office and John Sherman for giving him the contract. And he hasn't done that. He's got a 5.5 ERA in 16 starts since signing that contract.
They trusted you.
Trusted you, man. Crapped on my house. All right, 913-912-4810. I am spoiled. I get that I'm spoiled. I think a lot of us are when it comes to watching the Chiefs and being around here in the area and what the Chiefs have been able to do since 2018 when Patrick Mahomes took over as a starter. I admit the spoiled bratness. What do you do when your kid is a brat? But I can't help it. I can't help being spoiled and feeling this way about the Chiefs. We'll talk about that next. All right, men, if you're out there and you are suffering from symptoms that could be related to low testosterone, well, don't just sit around and wonder, is it low testosterone? Go and find out if it is, because Heartland Men's Health, they can do your lab work. They'll have the results within 30 minutes. You're 30 minutes away from knowing what your testosterone level is and if some of the symptoms you are feeling are related to that. And not just that, Heartland Men's Health is also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. A licensed medical provider will review the results with you, discuss your options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of that appointment, it's $99, but that includes medical consult, T, and PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit, it's free. Heartland Men's Health has been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We'll talk with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, coming up at 11 o'clock. I talked about how spoiled I am, and I present that up front. I mean, I know I am when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think a lot of us are. There's an appreciation of being spoiled. It's not like, I'm spoiled and I don't appreciate it. But the holiday games, like I'm happy that there are no international games this year for the Chiefs, even though Kelsey was wanting to go to Spain and was hoping the Chiefs would get that Falcons game in Madrid, because he said he wanted to play there and he was hoping that would be the case. And that's fine from his perspective. And if that's the perspective he would have had if they would have been placed in Spain and other players, okay, fine, make the best of it. But I'm glad they are not playing Week 9 against the Falcons in Spain. That part of it. But while being spoiled, I'm just getting tired of the holiday games.
Yeah.
I know people are pumped like, hell yeah, dude, Thanksgiving night, Chiefs and Bills. And I'm like, I know I'm spoiled, dude, and it's better than in the years past when it was like, can the Chiefs get a little respect? Can they get some love around here? I know they're not winning Super Bowls, but they're a good team. All right, this is a fine team. Andy Reid, look what he's done, and Alex Smith's a good quarterback. They're just not getting as much love, man. And that's how he sounded back then. It changed,
weird,
though.
yeah.
It changed over the years. But now, man, it's like, can they get a noon game? And not even that, like, just non-international and non-holiday. And I know they are still the draw. They're going to have 6 or more primetime games this year. There's now a rumor that the Chiefs are going to be Sunday Night Football in Week 2 against the Colts. That came out about 20 minutes ago.
They better hope Patrick's ready to go.
That it would be a home game. So the Chiefs would start back-to-back weeks at home against Broncos and Colts. That's the rumor that's out there. We know Week 1 they're playing against the Broncos. We know that already.
Is Daniel Jones healthy?
Sure, Anthony Richardson isn't. Yeah, I don't know if Daniel Jones, how healthy he's going to be, if he'll be ready to play. That was an Achilles, right?
Because that'd be weird.
Yeah. But I am fully expecting to hear the opponent the Chiefs will play on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
There's still 2 more Christmas Day games to be announced. And the rest of the schedule will come out tonight. And if it is a Christmas Day game, then part of me is saying, you know what, be on the road so that those that are working at Arrowhead don't have to be there on Christmas Day. Maybe they want to be there. Maybe they love it. Maybe it's time and a half. I hope it is. I hope they get paid more if they're there on Christmas.
It's not.
There you go. As someone who works out there.
They say it is. It was not.
Yeah, that's too bad. Sounds like a bait and switch if you ask me. But I don't know if I'm alone in this, because I saw a ton of people who were like, oh, this is amazing. Thanksgiving night, Chiefs and Bills. And I'm like, man, can I just have a holiday where I don't
mind
have to
Thanksgiving.
worry about it? I do.
Christmas, yeah. Thanksgiving and night game.
Yeah. It's just like,
Was it home or away? Do
it's
we
in
know?
Buffalo because
that's
Buffalo
not.
because this is BS that the Chiefs have to play in Buffalo like 4 straight years. Why can't they get a home game against Buffalo? They win Super Bowls. They beat Buffalo in the playoffs. They deserve the home game against the Bills. Why do they keep going to Buffalo every year? This is BS. Couldn't Chiefs fans complain about that? But they don't. It's just part of the schedule. You got to go there. They go to Cincinnati this year.
I'm actually cool with Thanksgiving night football,
Yeah.
especially on the road.
It's just becoming less and less special because they do it every single year.
Probably what it is, to where it becomes less and less special, and it becomes sort of a I'm waiting around on Thanksgiving anticipating that game, and I get distracted instead of being present in the moment, and I admit that. And so I
Yeah, but
have to
night.
be,
I feel like Thanksgiving's more of like a luncheon, like an afternoon. That's when you go back.
we do 9 o'clock at night dinners for Thanksgiving. We wait till 9 at night just to.
I don't believe you,
Of course we don't.
because no one does.
We want the tryptophan to hit so we can go to sleep. It's not a nap after the Thanksgiving feast.
What's the point? You nap during
coma.
the afternoon game, and then you wake up and you're ready to watch the night game. That's basically actually best case scenario.
Yeah. I'm fine with waking up and watching the night game. I just, again, it's from a position of being spoiled. I get it.
And the Eagles play before. I'll be in Florida with my Jersey cousins who are Eagles fans, so we'll have that rivalry again.
Yeah, nice.
It'll be
Good for you.
lovely.
That'll be fun. Good for you.
So
man.
you know what? I'm thrilled.
Pumped.
I'm in. I'm happy
Yes.
about this.
I'm glad you are,
We'll
Michael.
look back at this in a decade. Well, hopefully longer than a decade because Mahomes will still be playing.
Right,
we'll
right,
say,
yeah.
you know what? Those Christmas games, those Thanksgiving games, that's just because the Chiefs were the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I get it, and I should appreciate it, and
Live in the now, man.
I should embrace it more, and I will that night. But
You're
it's just
acting like
holiday.
the suck cut.
It does suck while it cuts.
Well, it certainly does suck.
It certainly does.
I all in on this.
Okay. Contrarian.
Shrank.
Matt Lane of KCSN is brought to you by Dick Ray Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Are you planning to spend money on a new AC or furnace repair this year? Dick Ray can help. Show us a 2025 HVAC repair invoice from any company and we'll credit that amount towards a new system up to $2,500. Call 913-DICK-RAY or go to dickray.com for details.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Joe Posnanski and Michael Schur coming up at noon. They've got a book out, comes out the 19th, called Big Fans, and we'll talk with them about that. Looking forward to that conversation. Joe Posnanski, former columnist and now author, and Michael Schur, writer, producer for Saturday Night Live and The Office, co-creator of Parks and Rec, also known as Ken Tremendous on Twitter for a long time, started the blog Fire Joe Morgan, but we'll talk with them about that coming up at noon. Right now, let's talk some Chiefs football with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Matty, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We're all sitting here refreshing the interwebs, trying to get all these games leaks coming to us alive rather than waiting, for another hour or two until it's announced by the team.
Are you a schedule release dork?
Oh, absolutely not. This is one of my, honestly, this is one of my least favorite times in the NFL season because we've known who they're playing. The order at which it happens is not that big of a deal to me. But I do know that a lot of people like it, and so we're going to parse through this as it comes in.
Look, it is content, okay? We can talk about it. We can discuss it. The NFL owns every day of the calendar. We know that as well.
Yes,
but we do know 6 games already. Matt, there are 6 games that have been, quote, leaked or rumored by people that have leaked and rumored games in the past that have been fully correct. So the games that are out there, we know 2 of them for a fact that have already been reported by the network, and that is Denver at home on Monday Night Football, and then Buffalo Thursday night of Thanksgiving on the road. The other 4 games that have been put out there by people that release some of these games and have been correct on every other game they've released so far. Indianapolis against the Colts, week 2, home, Sunday Night Football. So that's back-to-back home dates for the Chiefs in prime time right out of the gates. I'll talk to you about what you think that means with the schedule makers. Week 4 in Vegas, 3:25 kick. The Week 12 game, Thanksgiving against Buffalo. Week 14 in Cincinnati at 3:25. And the week after that against New England at home on Monday Night Football for Week 15. Those are the games that are out there, 6 of the 17 so far. And we know they will not be playing the Falcons on in Week 9. We know that. So Falcons somewhere in there. Matt, are you a subscriber that the schedule makers or how the computer program is put together, that if it spits out Chiefs primetime, week 1 and week 2, if there was a question from those around the league that Mahomes wouldn't be playing week 1, do you think they reinsert that and say start again? Or, nope, this is just what it came out. We have all these different rules of teams can do this, teams can't do that. We can't have a team playing 4 road games. We need the buys at this particular time in the international game, and the computer program does that, and whatever it is, it is. Do you subscribe to the fact that if the Chiefs are playing Denver and Indianapolis the first 2 weeks on primetime, that there's a full belief, even within the NFL, that Mahomes will be there week 1?
Yeah, I think that getting those games in primetime in particular, because that doesn't – I'm not entirely sure how the NFL scheduling process works, but I imagine if the belief right now in the NFL around the league was that Patrick Mahomes is more questionable or more 50-50 to play week 1, you're not getting back-to-back primetime games of Justin Fields with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that they would move it to a different time slot during that week if that was the matchup they were going with. So I think as of right now, that points towards thinking that he will be available. Obviously, that is a couple months away. There is no guarantee now. There obviously, knock on wood, could be some form of setback at some point in time or anything like that. But as of right now, today, I think the NFL is telling you that they do expect Patrick Mahomes to play to start the season.
Yeah. Do you expect Patrick Mahomes to play to start the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always been leaning there, just kind of knowing what we know about him as a person, knowing how hard he already pushes himself to play through injuries that he's had in the past, to recover from injuries that he's had. I think this has always been a goal, and, he's set a lot of goals for himself, and he's kind of knocked them all off the list. So if this was a goal of his this entire offseason, I imagine he's doing everything he can to get there. And, these rare athletes, the guys that are the rare athletes within already rare athletes that are playing in the NFL, they do happen to just recover a little bit faster, whatever it is. Adrian Peterson's back out there playing like he didn't miss a beat within 9 months of tearing his ACL. And just the guys that are different types of athletes that just have been blessed with that kind of genetics and athleticism and just recovery ability do seem to operate a little different. So I would not be surprised, and I've kind of always thought this was going to be the plan that he set in his mind.
Visiting with Matt Lane, Casey Sports Network, Casey Laboratory Podcast. I know you talked about we know the opponents, so the order not really that big of a deal to you, but even with that being the case, let's talk about Week 1 is a pretty significant game against the Denver Broncos to start off the season that – I think it's Denver and Kansas City in the AFC West, and losing a game at home Week 1 against a team that's probably the most likely other team to win the division would be a tough setback. Plenty of time to overcome that. What do you make of a division rival, which has traditionally been that the Chiefs, over the years, that's divisional opponents is who they open up the season with. Last year, the Chargers, and obviously this year, the Broncos. But the divisional rival at home on Monday Night Football against the Broncos being Week 1?
I think you always want to start the year. You want to win every game, right? And I think when you expand that out to beyond the obvious, starting off hot for quickly for a lot of NFL teams, winning your first couple games, or at least just getting a win in the column after you sat here after a disappointing season for anybody besides the Seattle Seahawks. You're coming off of a bad taste in your mouth about the way the last season went. You want to start off as quickly as possible stacking up wins or getting a number in that win column. So starting off with a difficult divisional game, even though it is at home, and it's a little bit of a tough draw. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just that's a tougher draw. You don't want to start the season after you've been stewing on last year for months now. You don't want to start that off 0-1. And so it's a tougher draw for both teams, but I think you'd rather it be at home. I don't think it moves the needle too much for me one way or another. You're going to have to play the Broncos at Arrowhead. It being Week 1 versus Week 8 versus Week 14 isn't that big of a deal to me, other than the fact that, like I said, you want to get some wins going. You want to get the ball rolling, and I think this particular Chiefs team probably would do a lot better if they can see some wins. I don't think this is a team that needs, that reality check early in the season like they have a couple times in the recent memory coming off of Super Bowl wins where they're the favorites and everyone's chasing them. They're now the team that needs to be chasing after others. I think they need to start a little bit faster this year and look a little bit better right off the bat. So that first game could go one of two directions. They can come out, beat the reigning AFC West, champs, and everything's great. Or if they come out and struggle and they lose that game, then now you might start to feel a little bit more pressure building and wondering if it's not going to be similar to last year. So it's a pivotal game. It's a pretty tough spot for it right out the gate.
Yeah, I said yesterday that I think it's even with all the bickering and belly aching from the Denver Bronco fans, I think it's beneficial for both. That some of the things you talk about there, the Chiefs, if Patrick Mahomes is not playing, the best way to get a win against the Broncos would be at home with the team and the crowd behind you, as opposed to going on the road and almost like you lose that one. Oh well, you're 0-1, and maybe you'd have lost that one with Patrick Mahomes anyway. So it's beneficial from that standpoint for the Chiefs. And if Patrick Mahomes plays, getting back on the right foot by winning at home on Monday Night Football and his return, it's beneficial for the Broncos because if they go there and get a win, well, you just got a feather in your cap, and you've put yourself in prime position to take full control of the AFC West. You go there and lose, well, okay, so you lost a road game in division on Monday night against one of the best teams in the league. Shocker. That's probably going to happen anyway. I feel like while it's beneficial to both teams, I kind of think there's way more pressure on the Chiefs in this game to come away with a win in Week 1. To whether people care, Matt, or Chiefs players care about some of the critics or the Chiefs are done and the dynasty's over, to sort of answer that and to come back and show what will be a new look Chiefs team on September 14th.
I think that's true as well, right? I know a lot of Broncos fans are upset that they're not getting that home opener, and I get that rationale of it, right? They don't get to play the Chiefs in prime time after they came off of this really good season for them, and they feel like they deserve to have the home game. I understand, what their complaint or what their frustration over that is. Whether I agree or not, it's a different story. But I understand where they're coming with it. But from the aspect that you just said, they have a chance here in week 1 where the Chiefs are going to be going through a lot more, I guess, growing pains than the Denver Broncos are, right? You have Mahomes returning from injury. This offensive line, while it's all the same guys that you saw last year in various spots, it's a different combination of 5 players than we really got to see too much last year. New running back. The entire defensive back, secondary, is all different now from the guys that played the majority of the snaps. It's the best time to get a road game against one of your division rivals out of the way if you're looking at it from the Broncos' perspective. So, yeah, it's a nice game for them. And then, for the Chiefs side of it, if they can start out 1-0, beating the reigning AFC West champions, because maybe you do catch them a little off guard because you're doing different stuff this year, or they don't know what to expect from your team this season, that's a nice feather in the cap for a team that did come off of a very disappointing 2025 season. So it's week 1. The game's hardly good. If you win the game, it means a lot. If you lose the game, it probably doesn't mean anything in the long run. You just really want to start off with that win if you were either of these teams, but I think especially the Chiefs, who don't want to fall down, lose that home game against a divisional opponent, start 0-1, and really start to wonder, oh, wow, is this going to be similar to last year yet again?
Another leaked game that is out for the Chiefs. The Chiefs in Week 13 heading to L.A. for Thursday Night Football against the Rams, which would give them back-to-back Thursday nights, Thanksgiving against Buffalo on the road, and then Thursday night at L.A. Week 14 would be in Cincinnati, a 3:25 game. That would give them 3 straight games on the road in weeks 12, 13, and 14, which would give me a little inkling, Matt, that maybe Week 11 would be a bye week for the Chiefs. And I would take that Week 11 bye week for the Chiefs somewhere in the middle rather than a Week 4 or 5 or, something like that. So we'll see. That's just speculation that typically if the NFL is going to have a stretch like that where they send you on the road for 3, you may get a bye week before that, or maybe they look at it and go, well, we're giving them Thursday night and then Thursday night, and then there's an extra couple of days before they go to Cincinnati because they're playing Thursday night against the Rams. So while it's a road trip, they're getting extra days against Cincinnati and an extra day, a couple days against the Rams too. We'll see what happens with that. I wanted to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and the players that they have heading into this year, because you wrote about, you did a film study, and I always appreciate when you guys at KCSN, you and Kent that we have on the show, but the film study that you guys do with different players, and Emmett Johnson, last week that we talked about,
yes.
with Kent and his film study. You did one on Peter Woods, and I almost said it was Peter Woods last week, but it wasn't. It was Emmett Johnson last week. But you did one on Peter Woods. It came out last week, last Thursday. Yes. The Peter Woods in 5 plays. What's your maybe opinion before doing the film study and maybe after doing these 5 plays film study on Peter Woods? Is it the same? Is it better? Worse? Has it changed? What did you think going into those plays about Peter Woods? What did you think of coming out?
So going into, I went on a journey with Peter Woods because he had gotten a lot of hype early in the year, and when I watched him, especially the 2025 season, good player, good defensive tackle, mid to late first round was my thought. And people at the time, in the middle of the season, were still putting him as a top 10 player, this guy that belongs in the top 10. I didn't see a defensive tackle that looked like a top 10 pick. And that was kind of my thought going throughout the entire draft season. And then I go back and watch him after the Chiefs take him, and okay, I still think that he probably was more of a, where the Chiefs took him, good value, more of a early late round 1, mid round 1 kind of defensive tackle when I'm going back to rewatch him and going through everything. But the biggest thing that kind of jumps out to me when I went back for this final time and I wanted to write about him through 5 specific plays, it's that the high-end flashes really are there. The stuff that makes him an elite player, the things that got people excited to push him up into the top 10, they are in his film. It's just, I don't want to say you have to watch a lot of football to get to it. It's just you have to pay attention to what you're watching because of the way the Clemson defense ran. And so what I mean by that is they ran a lot of stunts. The defensive line was slanting a ton, so he rarely got the true opportunity to say, okay, it's me versus this guard across from me, and I can beat him to the inside or the outside. It's one-on-one. It's my first step get off. It's my power. It's my lateral agility. It's my hand usage versus you. The majority of what he was asked to do was, I need to go from where I'm at, and I have to rush laterally to this other gap. And when you see so many plays like that, it starts to become, he's not winning as often as I want. he doesn't look quite as good as I want him to do. Whereas when you parse through it and find the plays where it does look like he's given that green light to just win without setting so many guidelines, without putting him in too much of a box like that defensive structure like to do this last year, I do think the high-end flashes popped out, and that's why he was really the reason I wanted to do this film room series by focusing in on 5 plays and just showing some of the high-end stuff, because it doesn't mean those are the only times he showed it. It's just these are the best examples that I can find of saying, okay, here he has a two-way go versus this guard, and you can see how he threatens both edges of this guard and makes him have no chance. Here you can see where he physically overwhelms him, or his hand usage is really good. And now, as an NFL team, it's your job to take those flashes and turn it into consistency. And so I do think I came out of it with a little bit higher belief that the Chiefs will get him there, just because when I limit it down to the types of plays I'm looking at, I do see those high-end flashes consistently in those situations.
Yeah, bringing that up, as just somebody that studies the draft, likes the draft, puts the draft guides together as well. If you look at a player, not necessarily Peter Woods, but just in general, and every player can be individual, but maybe philosophically from you, do you want to draft on the high-end plays that you see, like, wow, that's a high-level flash, or would you rather look at the mean production or mode as to what that player may more likely turn out to be?
I think it's really going to be player and then like situation dependent, right? And so and I know it's not just about Woods, but like with Peter Woods, the reason he stands out to me in this is his flashes came when he was put in situations where you would expect to see the flashes, and then the times where it wasn't there, when it wasn't consistent, when the average play wasn't looking as impressive, it's because he was asked to do something differently, and that's going to be different for every single player. So some players are going to be given the green light all the time to do whatever they want, and if they can win, that's awesome. And when you see a player like that being consistent, I think that's more alarming. And it's not that they're not following the structure of the defense or they're doing anything wrong. It's just they are a little bit more inconsistent because they are being given the freedom to win however they want. I think of this way with wide receivers that are the number one option. If they are not taking over games when they're being asked to, that is something I think you know. Whereas if you are looking at a pass rusher who is only being asked to get after the quarterback on 3rd and longs, and the ones where they're not blitzing, okay, you have to limit out the plays that aren't 3rd and long where other guys aren't blitzing to see them in those moments. So I lean a little bit more towards the flashes, but I do want to look at the situation around them and see what's being asked of them. Not necessarily learning the scheme inside and out, just what's being asked of them on a particular play before I try to make too harsh of a judgment.
Was there a huge difference from 24 to 25 in his usage and how they put him out there from a 3 technique to a 4-eye to, over the center? Was it that big or drastic that you saw from 24 to 25?
Yeah, it was huge. And honestly, I don't even think 2024 is a great representation of what he's going to do in the NFL either. They played him as a pretty traditional defensive end a lot. And some of that was over the tackle, so it was like a 5 tech, but a lot of it was as a true 4-down, even front-looking defensive end. And he's good at that for a 300-pounder, for a guy that's over 300 pounds, but there's obviously times where his lack of bend or lack of just defensive end athleticism isn't of that of somebody that weighs 260 pounds. And so I don't even know if 2024 was a great showing of how they'll use him at the NFL. So once again, you're having to locate the situations where he was put in spots that you're going to use him like you do in the NFL. And I will say, a lot of people talk about the 2024 tape as this is better. This is what you got to watch. And I think it's good. I think he was clearly more impactful of a player in 2024. But if I just watch how he moves, his power, his body composition makeup, what he was doing outside of the outcome of the play, I thought he looked better in 2025. I think he looked a little bit more athletic. He looked stronger. He looked better put together. He was changing directions, I think, a little bit cleaner. So I think that the 2024 stuff just got a little bit overblown, and the 2025 stuff got a little bit underplayed just because the production wasn't there.
I like that. Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. The Chiefs will have 4 games this year against Broncos and Chargers, teams that want to run the football. And, they'll play the Rams this year that went, heavy 13 personnel. And we'll see if Sean McVay completely, zigs again and goes all, 11, empty sets or whatever. It's like, got you guys again, even though they're drafting tight ends and things like that. So playing teams that we know will want to run the football, Buffalo Bills, things like that. Did the Chiefs sacrifice the ability to stop the run like they did a year ago for added pass rushing this upcoming season?
I don't think so. So there's, I guess, multiple parts to it. Is bringing in Kyrus Tonga to play nose tackle next to Chris Jones has given, is by far their best defensive tackle, like nose tackle type that they have had under the Steve Spagnuolo era. And I mean, you're probably going back to prime Dontari Poe there to find somebody that's really that comparable to what he was able to do last year for the New England Patriots. So right there, I think you get a little bit of improvement. And then even going into the draft, I think Peter Woods is going to be seen a lot more because he is a 3-tech. Like his body shape, the way he moves looks like a 3-tech. So people are going to, I think, write him off as a pass rusher. But he's a strong run defender. He does a really good job playing through the power that he does have. He doesn't have the best length, but he does a really good job knocking offensive linemen off balance. He plays with extension. He can shed blocks in the hole to make plays. So he's not a true nose tackle. You're probably not going to get to 3rd and 2 and see Woods and Chris Jones on the field together, but I don't think that he's weak in that area at all, and he can very easily step into the 1st and 10 defense next to a Tonga, next to whoever they have as their backup nose tackle, whether that's Omar Norman-Lott returning to health, whether they do sign somebody later on this offseason to be that kind of second nose tackle for the team. So I don't think they sacrificed a lot on the interior. Now, out on the edge is where I have a few more questions, especially without Leo Chenal. You lost probably your best run-defending linebacker. You haven't really replaced Mike Dana or Charles Omenihu with another run-stopping defensive end, so you might be a little bit weaker out on the edges without Chenal and those two defensive ends. So I'm curious to see what their plan of attack is for that, because Felix, R. Mason Thomas, those guys aren't exactly great edge setters at the defensive end position. So I'm curious as what they will do on the edges. But I do think the run defense up the middle should be as strong or probably stronger than it has been in recent years.
Yeah, because, one of the things that when Peter Woods was drafted, and so much about, his explosiveness, how quick he is, and I think of that, and I think, okay, pass rusher, right? He's going to get after the passer. They are drafting this guy because if you're taking a defensive tackle that early, you probably want them to be able to rush the passer. Now, certainly there is a value of having a really dominant, nose tackle that can just be a run stopper and take up space. There's certainly value in that as well, and Caden McDonald was a guy that people really liked, but I thought of Peter Woods, and it's like, okay, this is a guy that they're going to line up next to Chris Jones and go rush the passer. But the more and more, you hear about him, read about him, and people like yourself that are studying it say, the baseline for him is like he's already a really good run defender. There are flashes of him being a really good pass rusher. You see all the tools that are there. And if you replace Pennell/Noddy and Jerry Tillery with Tonga and Peter Woods, then, Matt Lane doesn't want to talk about it anymore, because he's gone. He just hung up. He had somewhere to go. So, I don't know. He's gone. Just didn't care. Like, I agreed with him, though. That's the thing, is I was agreeing with Matt. I was saying, you are so smart, Matt Lane. The smartest person I've ever met in my life. He didn't want to hear it. But just simply exchanging Tillery and Tonga, or Tillery and Noddy with Pennell. I'll get it right. Tonga and Woods with Pennell and Tillery. Sorry, Matt. The phones seem to be out, so that could be an issue for coming up at noon. Maybe the phone's right. You want to turn his mic on there, Michael? He's been asking to do that.
I know he's working back there. I'm just sitting here like up. Yeah.
Looks like line one just completely went away.
It wants you to stay in his lane. Stay in your lane.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, stay in your Matt lane. We were probably running out of time with Matt anyway. You know what I mean? Let's just get him on the cell phone, and we'll just hold the cell phone up to the
we
mic
can do that.
here,
Yeah.
and just have it on like speaker and have it play next to the microphone. I'm like, that'll work too.
That always is good quality.
Yeah.
That always sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, but on the edge, it's a good point when he's talking about maybe they got worse in stopping the run on the edge with R. Mason Thomas, if it's Felix, if it's even maybe Gelati, as opposed to a Dana or a Menahew. Who knows from that? It's certainly without Leo Chenal. That is a big piece that they are not going to be able to just simply replace with one player. But the interior, It's night and day with, I'm going to get it right, Woods and Tonga, as opposed to Tillery and Pinnell, or Tillery and Noddy. It's vastly different. And I know that it's like, well, Chris Jones would be out there too. Right, I get it. Chris Jones, let's say Chris Jones and Tillery. Okay, Chris Jones and Woods. Yeah, but Chris Jones and Mike Pinnell. Okay, Chris Jones and Tonga. They're better.
Yes.
Already at that point. And if Ashton Gelati can play against the run on the edge the way that you got, whatever you got from Dana and O'Menihue, okay, then all you're worrying about replacing is then Leo Chenal. That's the next step. That's who you have to replace is Leo Chenal.
Which is a combination of Cooper, Bassa, and to an extent, I think you'd probably make the case of R. Mason Thomas.
Yeah. So we'll, in a couple weeks, we'll catch up with Matt Lane. Hopefully the phone lines are fixed by then. PGA Championship is rolling along.
Let's do a little PGA Championship scoreboard update right here.
Score.
Po Guider, Steven Yeager, and Minwoo Lee all tied for first place at 3 under.
All fake names. The first guy you said, fake names. You were just seeing if I would go along with it.
South African.
Good eye, Mike.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry.
Garrick Higo also, I believe, South African as well. He
Also
got a
made up name.
2-stroke penalty on the first tee. He showed up a minute late.
No way.
He was in the putting green putting.
No way.
A minute late. I think on that point, it probably falls to your caddy. Like, your caddy probably needs to be like, hey, dude.
Honestly, who gets fired for that?
Hopefully he likes his caddy, and hopefully his caddy will make it up to him. But he is tied for 8th at 1 under.
But he
would be tied for first.
Oh my!
Again, we're 16 holes in.
But still, like I don't. Has that? How often? I've never heard of this happening before, especially in a major, like a big tournament like this. You're on the putting green, you show up a minute late. Like, do they give you some sort of a grace, like maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that if it gets to a minute, like they're timing you when you get announced by the guy at the tee box for hole number 1, they announce you and then boom, ready to go?
Yeah, I've not seen this many times, but
unreal.
Higo got that. And then if you're looking for Rory, I know a lot of folks were pretty high on Rory. Rory is even. John Rahm is even. Michael Woodland is 1 over after 17 holes. Yeah. And that's what we have so far on the update. A lot of guys teeing off a little later on throughout the day.
Cool.
As well. Victor Hovland, Shane Lowry, and Colin Morricone. By the way, PGA Championship scoreboard updates brought to you by Dewey's. Stop in by your local Dewey's Pizza in Overland Park today and try their new Korean barbecue seasonal pizza. Dewey's Pizza, taking pizza to the next level again. We're going to be trying that very soon.
We'll be trying that Korean barbecue pizza. Looking forward to that. We'll take a time out, come back, continue rolling. And I do want to talk about a number of players with the Chiefs. Jesse Newell had an interesting piece at The Athletic that they were talking about this morning with the boys. And some of those players that are on the Chiefs winners of the offseason in a specific way, considering what they did in the offseason and addressing certain needs and not addressing other areas. More zone next. All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. Thank you to Matt Lane. Sorry we decided to end that early. Sorry, Matt. Too bad. You know what I didn't want to hear? You talking about Peter Woods and Kyrus Tonga playing next to each other. All right? Get the hell out of here with your opinion. All right? Okay, we got enough out of you.
I just love he text me. He goes, my fault. IDK, what happened? Jason just trailed off. Then after a few moments of silence, call dropped.
Yeah, I know. No, it's totally his fault. That is true. Wow. I'm glad that he said my fault?
He said my fault ? Though.
Oh. I thought he was just taking the blame, and Sterling was like, I'm just going to let it sit out there and let him think it was his fault. Clearly not his fault.
Well, because when someone takes the blame, there's no more blame to be took. And so...
There's no more blame to go around, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so if you take the blame, it's not his fault. So he took it. What was I supposed to do? He took the blame.
Yeah, right. He didn't take partial blame. He just said, like, is it partially my fault? Sorry, there's only we can get 110% if he takes the full blame and there's 10% left over.
That's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, don't half-ass some two things, whole-ass one thing. Give it 100%. 110% is possible. I do want to thank our sponsors for the coverage of the PGA Championship right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. First Business Bank, Bobsite Auto Group, Back Nine Golf, and Dewey's Pizza. Thank you to the fine folks there for the coverage as we give you updates and our coverage of the PGA Championship right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Bryson DeChambeau, 4 over.
How about that?
Shockingly, him using all one length, especially for your wedges, does not lead to great wedge play. Maybe needs to go and 3D print a shorter shaft.
There's a guy named The Gala. And I thought maybe it was like,
this is the Gala.
This is a guy that's like, oh, there's the Gala right there.
Yeah,
it's right around the Gala.
Yeah.
It's the Gala who's playing. The Gala is tied for 4th. Also a number of other golfers, too. We talked Royals in the first hour. We've talked a number of Chiefs topics as well. There are 7 games that we know for the Chiefs from either official leaks from the network or those that have leaked games either in the past or so far currently. And now we know another one. And that is the Chiefs and Seahawks will be playing Week 7. So the defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks will welcome 3-time Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Week 7. Doesn't say, Jordan Schultz does not have if this is a primetime game or not, but Week 7 at Seattle for the Chiefs, which now gives us 8 games that we would know of for the Chiefs' schedule. Well, it's going to be put together before it even for tonight, before Michael gets on the air at 6 o'clock.
I love the fact that the Chiefs have a bad season, should get a third-place schedule, and they have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. Again, it's all based on what was happening. I mean, again, you never know.
But they also, Jordan Schultz put together a list of 1 through 32 of the toughest schedules with the Vegas win totals. And the Chiefs had like the 12th easiest schedule.
Okay, because I saw the one where it was last year, and they had the 5th hardest schedule.
Yep.
Which ones would be bringing it down? I guess they would imagine Seattle's would drop down, right? Seattle would be a team that they probably don't expect to have that many wins.
Right, but based on last year, it's like, wow, you're playing Seattle. You're playing all these different teams, although Cincinnati would probably be better than a year ago. The Vegas Raiders would probably be better than a year ago with the wins that they had, or maybe not. I'd have to go and look at what the comparison is with that. But there are 8 games now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 games that have been either officially released or leaked. Week 1 against the Denver Broncos, Monday Night Football. Week 2 against the Indianapolis Colts, Sunday Night Football. So back-to-back primetime games for the Chiefs. Week 4 in Vegas, 3:25 kick. Week 7 in Seattle. Do not see a start time for that. Week 12, Thanksgiving night in Buffalo, Thursday Night Football.
Love it.
Week 13, Thursday Night Football in L.A. against the Rams. So back-to-back Thursday nights. Week 14, because Thursday night Thanksgiving is NBC.
Yeah.
The Thursday Night Football 7:20 is Amazon Prime. So that would take care of you have a Thursday night football game for every single team. Week 14, so you went to Buffalo, you went to L.A., at Cincinnati, 325, and then Monday Night Football Week 15 against the New England Patriots. There's 4 straight games, 3 straight on the road, Thursday night, and then a Sunday, which I brought up with Matt Lane. If I'm just connecting dots here, that would at least give me an inclination that Week 11 is either 100% a home game or it's a bye week. That they give them a bye week and then, hey, we've got 3 straight road games for you, but we're going to give you a bye in Week 11.
Let's hope that's the case. That'd be a nice...
Yeah.
An early bye would be devastating.
That would be tough.
At that point.
But they also, against the Rams, would have a couple of extra days of rest because they would play Thursday night the week before.
Sure.
The Rams would play... the Rams play on Thanksgiving too, don't they?
The back-to-back...
They play the Packers on Thanksgiving Eve, on that Wednesday.
So the Chiefs would have one less day of rest, but it would be somewhat the same. But then against Cincinnati, they would have... Or at least the Bengals on Thanksgiving. Good night. I'm forgetting about all these actual Thanksgiving Day games.
It's Bears, Lions, Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills.
Yeah. So they would, in theory, have a few extra days of rest for that third road game in a row against the Bengals. So it would be sort of a half bye by playing Thursday Night Football against the Rams.
The back-to-back Thursdays are weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird...
But it's a standalone Thursday Night Football versus Thanksgiving triple
Yeah, I
header.
get that, but
and
still,
2 different networks.
So a weird scheduling quirk right there. I don't know how I feel about that. How much?
Let's talk about it. Let's get into your feelings.
Has there ever been a back-to-back Thursday Night Football game before?
Probably. Just where it's the different networks, this is the only way it would happen, is to have one on NBC and the other one have your Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Every team appears on Amazon Prime throughout the course of the season on a Thursday Night Football. Amazon Prime, the Chiefs playing Thursday Night Football on NBC, does not then take care of the Thursday Night Football having to be with Amazon Prime. So, but having it back-to-back is sort of interesting, too.
Yeah, it's just a unique scheduling quirk, it feels like.
It's really unique. It's very...
Extremely...
Very unique is what it is.
Unique.
That's what I've always said.
Uniquely unique.
Very, 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 very unique. Yes. So there you go. There's the latest one now that we know that the Chiefs will be playing the Seattle Seahawks in Week 7. So, whatever that means. So, coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, you can hear Michael Darcy weigh in on what will probably be like 12 of the 17 games that'll be released. And I bet if you put a grid together, you can start to figure out where other teams that you're playing have all these other games, and you're like, well, you play this game, and it's really only 2 different weeks that you could play this game on.
It's like Sudoku.
Exactly.
This is like Sudoku.
It's like Jason Sudeikis. You're exactly right. It's just like that, Believe.
I would hope that Patriots Monday Night Football game, which is going to be on December 21st, would rule out
good call.
Christmas.
Good call.
But if
Good
you remember
call.
a couple years ago, they played 3 games in 11 days, and they played, I believe, on that it would have been Sunday, or they played on Saturday and then played on Wednesday?
Saturday and then Saturday and then Wednesday. But all of those
night.
teams that played on that Wednesday had that same sort of schedule that they all had to play those games. They weren't giving one team an advantage over the other.
Yeah, they screwed them all.
Yeah, they just screwed them all over, and it really hurt the Chiefs because that's what really killed the whole season. Was that it wasn't the early parts of the season where they kept losing games and didn't really play well. So that's a great point because I just have the weeks. I don't have the dates of the different weeks. I'm just putting week 14, week 15. So week 15 Monday night is December 21st.
Yes.
And Christmas Day game would be Friday. So they would play Sunday, Monday, Friday. So 21st. That would be the 13th, 21st, and 25th. So it would be 3 games in 15 days.
If they
or
do get
three
a
games,
Christmas
3
day.
games in 12 days. 3 games, 12 days. Play the 13th, the 21st, and the 25th. They've done it before, but it's a good point that maybe that eliminates them of playing on Christmas, and I'd be totally fine with that.
I'd be curious to know who they would give the Chiefs on Christmas if they get that game. Because all of the major, they're playing the Rams, not on Christmas, Seahawks, not on Christmas, Broncos on Monday Night Football. Do they double up and go Broncos in back-to-back years?
It could be Broncos back-to-back.
I don't know. Maybe the Chargers could be a Christmas Day game.
Could be.
Ideally, it's not
Miami.
great for 3 games in 12 days.
I'm hoping it's an away game.
Yeah, but say if it's the Broncos, it'd be an away game.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a road game again. And it's every other. It was a home game last year, right?
Correct.
So it was Raiders home at Pittsburgh, home last year. You would think if they're on Christmas, they would put them on the road this year, which would mean with the Raiders, Seahawks, Bills, Rams, and Bengals already taken care of in road games, that would leave the Falcons, and I wouldn't think that would be the game they would play. It would leave the Chargers and Broncos.
I could see either one of those.
Yeah,
and I feel like
or Miami.
I feel like divisional opponent is
Chargers,
the one.
Broncos, or the Dolphins.
Yes, it'd
would be the
Broncos, Chargers.
If it's a road game. So who did they play last year on Christmas? I've already forgotten.
The Broncos.
Okay, that's right. That's what we said it would be back-to-back. Yes.
It was a Christmas Oladokin game.
That's right. And the frickin' tie game with 2 minutes to go. The big bad Broncos just whipping up on the Chiefs. I'm not afraid of the Chiefs no more. Big bad Broncos. Look what Bo Nix is doing against backup quarterbacks. Bo and backups with the Broncos. Busted up ass offense coming in here and tie game with 2 minutes to go against Oladokin. Woo! Big old Broncos.
I would almost bet if they don't play on Christmas, they would always either get a New Year's Eve game or a New Year's Day game. It's going to be one of those two if they don't play on Christmas. I mean, even if they play on Christmas.
Or it's week 18 that it's Chiefs and Broncos on the road, and they bookend the Broncos one game at home to start the season, then you go to Denver to end the season in week 18. And the Chiefs won't even need to win that one because they'll be resting their starters for the playoffs anyway because they'll have the number 1 seed wrapped up at that point. And it'll be a lot like the whooping that the Broncos put on the backup Chiefs that Broncos fans count as a Bo Nix win against Patrick Mahomes somehow.
They're delusional.
He was in the stadium, and he was healthy.
That's
but
a good
he wasn't
point.
playing.
That's a good point. He did not play the second game last year, but Bo Nix is a blocked field goal away from being 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes.
According to Broncos fans.
Even though the wins, 2 of those.
End of the day, what really
be,
needs to happen is the Chiefs take back the AFC West.
I guess it'd be 4-0.
Yeah.
A blocked field goal away from being 4-0, even though Mahomes didn't play in 2 of those, because they are 3-1 with the 2 wins last year, and then the 40-0 the year before.
What really needs to happen is for the Chiefs to beat the Broncos both times, win the AFC West, and have them go back to their shanties. Like that's what the Chiefs need to do
It'd be
right
nice
now.
if that happens.
The Chiefs have to, and again, we know what it's like when the Broncos win, when the Raiders win, they talk smack.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if they win a Super Bowl or not. Doesn't matter if they even win the AFC West or not. Doesn't matter if you win 5 games or not. The Raiders are like, they will talk smack because that's what rivalries are for. It's what makes them great. It's why it does mean more. When the Chiefs weren't great or winning Super Bowls,
the SEC.
but when the Chiefs weren't great or not winning Super Bowls, it was still a little bit of a bragging right to say, hey, that's fine. Still beat your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what makes sports great. And so I get Broncos taking laps over the dumbest things. I think they realize it's not all over Patrick, but they also know it gets under Chiefs fans' skin.
I think there's part of it that they're trying to convince themselves with, the Chiefs, they don't scare me at all.
Sure.
Like, dude, you won by a total of 10 points. 3-point win at home and a 7-point win against Oladokin. Again, the game was tied at 13 with 2 minutes to go.
I get it, but a win's a win, isn't it?
It is a win, but, that's not really bragging rights win.
Sure.
It's not really braggable.
Sure.
Win. And you can't brag about the beatdown that they put on the Chiefs the year before when they were playing a playoff game and the Chiefs were playing their backups. But again, they do it because there's not a whole lot that you can grasp onto if you're them. Because going 1-16 over the previous 9 years is pretty bad. And having the blocked field goal disaster that happened when all you got to do is put it through the uprights and win, and Leo Chenal comes through and blocks the kick because of a derelict of duty with your coaching and special teams and having the same guy out there keep getting beat time and time again and doing the old I'm just going to fall backwards like a statue getting pushed over,
I still think the funny
they're
part.
imploding a building with dynamite, and he's just like, well, I'll just push it right over. It's perfectly fine and go block the field goal. So, yeah, if there's not much to grasp onto, you'll find anything while you're sinking.
I think a funny aspect of this is, again, with the third place schedule, you play the AFC North, right? And so you're like, the Bengals are sitting going, well, at least we won't have to play KC.
Yeah, right.
Because they also the third place schedule.
Third.
At least we won't have to play KC. We'll play the Raiders or play the Broncos or
Chargers or whatever.
Yeah, I just find that pretty funny that because the Bengals are probably the same thing the Chiefs are of course, we couldn't play the Steelers.
Well, the Broncos, I mean, playing the first place schedule, the division plays everybody in the East, so it doesn't matter with the first place schedule when you're playing, when everybody in the West is playing everybody in the East in the AFC, but it matters with the South and the North.
Correct.
And your first place schedule, you get Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. As opposed to, like, second place schedule with the Chargers is Baltimore and Houston.
I would not. That's the worst.
Chiefs
one.
with the third place schedule gets Cincinnati and Indianapolis.
That is the second.
Yeah,
first
right.
place.
The Raiders are like, hell yeah.
Yeah, the Raiders are thrilled.
Cleveland and Tennessee. Got them.
Broncos should be thrilled. I mean, honestly, you'd prefer
exactly.
that versus the second or third.
Agreed. The first place schedule is like, wow, you won the division. Now you get a first place schedule. Yeah, but you get a first place schedule where it was a down year for the Ravens and Bengals, and Pittsburgh finds a way to win, and they're still going through their whole transition with now a new coach and everything.
Who even knows if it's going to be Aaron Rodgers or not?
But, right. And Jacksonville, is to me not as scary as Houston. But we'll see what Jacksonville does this year. I think they surprised a lot of people last year. They're not going to surprise anybody this year. And Houston has a really good roster, but really good roster with also like the unknown of C.J. Stroud, what he's going to look like this year. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, wrap it up this hour. We'll see what the next couple of hours look like. Scheduled to talk with Joe Posnanski and Michael Schur. They've got their book coming out May 19th called Big Fan, and scheduled to talk to them. Hopefully the phone line's working then in a few minutes. We'll see. We think we might be able to at least get one of them on and talk with them. We'll see in just a few minutes. So we'll also be staying tuned for that. We'll also be interested, just as you are.
I personally am very intrigued.
Yep. A lot of moving parts.
That's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, a lot of it's live radio, man. It's part of the fun of doing it. You know, you just gotta adjust. Just gotta go with the flow. You gotta take where the wind's taking. You gotta open the sail and whatever other terms you can use. Also, if things work out, we'll have Sports or Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. If they don't work out, then we'll talk about some other things. We've got plenty of stuff we can talk about. All right. We can break down each and every one of these 8 games.
I was going to say the Royals
Chiefs.
And how Chris Booth
or we
has
can
to
talk
go,
about the breakdown of the Royals.
how they have to, the actual breakdown of the Royals.
Yeah, you need Chris Bubich to go out there and pitch like he's been pitching this year.
Correct.
You need a win.
Don't Seth Lugo this thing.
Nope. We'll see what happens next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, heading up until 2 o'clock. The Zone, Jason Anderson, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy with you. An hour from now, we'll see about playing some sports or leisure. Royals game 3 of their 3-game set with the White Sox before heading to St. Louis. And a couple of guys that'll be heading to St. Louis on May 20th and then Kansas City on the 21st. We are very pleased to be joined by, guys, I'm going to do this one at a time just so we fully get the intro for you fellas. This book comes out, Big Fan, on May 19th. Joe Posnanski, former Kansas City Star columnist, winner of multiple awards, Cleveland native, New York Times best-selling author, including, Joe, my favorite book of all time, The Soul of Baseball. Joe, thank you for being a part of the show today and joining us.
Oh, of course. I'm happy to be back.
Yes. And Michael Schur with us, writer-producer, from Saturday Night Live, The Office, one of my favorite shows, Parks and Rec of all time, Ken Tremendous, Fire Joe Morgan, and a true champion of VORP is Michael Schur with us as well. Michael, thank you for joining us as well.
True champion of VORP is an incredible way to be introduced on a radio program. Thank you for that. It's an incredibly proud moment for me.
As it should be. It was. I just remember thinking back to following along with Fire Joe Morgan and just the fight of some of the numbers to try to get them more into the mainstream conversation about baseball. Like, it's okay to have more information, which was so much fun. You guys have this book coming out, Big Fan, May 19th, and also the tour coming to Kansas City May 21st, Rainy Day Books at Unity Temple. It's going to be hosted, emceed by Jason Kander, and we'll see whoever else might be there as well. So first of all, as I said, thank you for joining us to talk about the book. Whichever one of you that may want to go first, how did you get the idea of traveling the world and going to these random sporting events that aren't random to those particular towns, but would be random to us in this country, and sort of learning about the fandom there and just that idea for a book, which is a pretty interesting and definitely a unique idea?
Well, this is Mike talking. I got sent a video of two guys at the World Darts Championship in London, just, standing 8 feet away from a dartboard and throwing darts. And my friend said, "You got to watch this." And it was just them throwing darts at a dartboard, and then a crowd of like 3,000 people behind them, all dressed in insane costumes. Harry Potter and Minions and Mario from Mario Kart and whatever else.
Amazing.
Just losing their minds, just going crazy, throwing beer on each other and throwing napkins in the air. And I didn't really know what was going on, but I just was like, this is familiar to me. I know this entire setting is weird, but I understand that fan passion. And so I had this idea instantly for a book, which was traveling all over the world and seeing sporting events and writing not about the events as much as the fans and trying to get to the heart of what it meant to be a fan. And as I had that idea, I thought, well, I'm only doing this if Joe does it with me. So I called Joe and said, hey, this is crazy, but I have this idea for a book I think we should write. And he said yes before I was done talking.
It's from the town. He said, it's Jeremy Renner. Who's driving and what time we going?
Right. Whose car are we taking?
Whose car are we taking? That's right. It's the same thing. How do you guys, and Joe, when he called you about that, that seems like it was an easy sell. You guys have known each other for a long time, and the podcast that you guys, host together. What was it about then Michael explaining this that you're just like, yeah, I'm in. You can stop talking now?
Oh, I mean, from word one, there was never even a doubt. But I think it's part. You mentioned, Fire Joe Morgan and VORP and all of that. I mean, that's how we became friends. He had written something, but I didn't even know it was him. He was doing it anonymously at the time.
Right.
Ken Tremendous.
Right, Ken Tremendous.
And he wrote a piece about a friend of mine. Which is still one of the funniest things I've ever read. It just was this unbelievable takedown of this guy that I know and like, but also had written a horrendous article. So I sent a note to Mike saying, hey, two things. One, I know this guy you wrote about, and he totally deserved it, and it was hilarious. And two, please don't ever do this to me. I literally will not be able to leave the house if you ever do this to me. And he wrote back and was like, "Yeah, no, I'm actually a fan of yours. We ought to hang out if you ever in L.A." And so we hung out next time I was in L.A. And then we hung out again, and we like almost immediately as friends we went to a spring training trip together with a couple of other writers, and it was just great. And so honestly, our whole friendship has kind of been built around this idea, like we had to do fun stuff. Like we this is you're a sports writer, I'm a comedy writer. We'll have opportunities to do fun things together. We ought to do that. And so when he said it, it was two things. One, I thought the idea was so great because like this notion that all fans are really like similar. We think about things the same way. And two, that we would like get to do this thing as like friends. Like this would just be nothing but fun to just go out to all of these crazy events as pals. And I just thought, yeah, not only am I in, I mean, let's go. Can we start now? I mean, there was never even a question,
It's amazing. Michael, he talks about, him writing you about this takedown of a particular person that he knew. And by the way, not defending him, saying, good for you, he deserved it, which is great. And looking back, I remember when people found out that Ken Tremendous and Fire Joe Morgan was Michael Schur, and like, oh my God, no wonder it's so hilarious. I've always wondered from the standpoint, like, I know we're going to talk about the book, but this is just me and my curiosity. Like, what was it about the remaining anonymous for you to write those so people didn't know it's the guy that's the co-creator of Parks and Rec and from The Office and Saturday Night Live, that you wanted to remain anonymous while writing these things and tweeting these things as Ken Tremendous?
Well, I can't stress enough how little we thought anyone was ever going to care. The origin story of that blog was that me and my friend Alan Yang, who has gone on to create, he created Master of None and won an Emmy for directing. Incredible. And created the show Loot, and then my friend Dave King, who's worked on a million shows and is a very accomplished. My friend Matt Murray, who's written with me on a bunch of shows, The Good Place and Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and all that. Like, we were at the time, I was working at SNL. We were working at, other jobs, but we were anonymous only because we were writing it for each other. We did not for 1 second think that anyone was ever going to read it. And so what happened was it started to get linked to on like Deadspin and other sites at the time. And then suddenly, we went from having 11 readers a day, 5 of which were each other, to like having, 10, 15, 35,000 readers. And then the fact that we were anonymous became like a thing. And we had this like email conversation where I was like, I feel weird about being anonymous. Like, the accused have a right to face their accusers. That's part of the criminal justice system. And so I said to everyone, like, hey, I know that nobody cares, but I think we should just come out and say who we are, because I think the people who we're attacking have a right to know who we are. And everyone agreed. And so we were like, hey, we did a post that was like, hey, listen, we were anonymous because we never thought anyone would read this. Here's who we really are. I'm Mike Shore. I write for The Office. This is Dave King. He writes for, Alan Yang writes for South Park, whatever. And then, totally unexpectedly, that made it blow up even more, because then there was an article that was like, the guy who writes Fire Joe Morgan is Mose on The Office. And suddenly people's heads exploded because of how weird that was. And so it was not calculated. It was purely accidental, and it made the blog kind of take off when we announced who we were.
It was enjoyable. It was one of the first that we had seen of something like that. And now we see so many different blogs. It was kind of, the way I described it, Michael, was it's kind of awful announcing before awful announcing, sort of like a gatekeeper to a degree.
That's definitely was the vibe. We were just a bunch of wise asses who were kind of like, lobbing grenades. The funny thing was, though, and the part that was enjoyable was, bloggers at the time were disparaged by mainstream media, and it was like, these guys are just nerds who live in their mom's basement. Mm-hmm. And we were secretly like, no, we're not. We're all employed TV comedy writers. And as I say in the book, jokingly, our reaction was, how dare you? We are nerds who live in our own basement.
That's right. These guys don't know what the heck they're doing in this blog. They're losers that have never had any success. Now I'm going to go turn on The Office and watch this show and laugh my butt off with this Michael Schur, who's just incredibly brilliant. So not knowing it's one and the same. We're visiting with Michael Schur and Joe Posnanski. A big fan. Comes out May 19th. The tour, which is very cool, guys, that you included Kansas City as one of the 5 cities for your tour. How did you... So you come up with the idea, you see this darts championship, and you call Joe, and he says, I'm in. How do you then go about figuring out which events, the timing of it, the schedule, before you even get to writing or attending them? I would imagine that most of the legwork was done in just the travel and itinerary and figuring out the schedule for all of those.
Yeah, we made a list of, 50 events that we thought might be fun to go to. And we decided at the beginning, no limits, anything that sounds fun. So there was sumo in Japan. There was rugby in New Zealand. There was team handball in Finland. And then, we started to whittle it down based a little bit on just logistics. Like we have day jobs and we couldn't just, spend the whole year traveling. But then also, the events started to kind of coalesce into a certain theme, I would say, right, Joe? Like certain events started to seem like, oh, this is more like what we want to be saying about fandom. And we didn't want to have this be like the wild and wacky world of sports where point was how far-flung the events were.
Yeah.
It really had to be events that kind of coagulated into this one main theme of, like, experiencing fandom itself.
Yeah, I think that it was a kind of a learned process, because when we first started telling people about the idea, I mean, we got millions of suggestions, and they were all like the weirdest, like, oh, you ought to go to the wife carrying thing in Ireland, or the cheese rolling thing, or it was always just like this crazy weird stuff. Which, by the way, would be hilarious and be in a wonderful book. And if there's a big fan too, we would love to go to a lot of that stuff. But what we started to realize as we were doing this book was that we had a theme that we really wanted to capture, which is that that fans are the same, that we're really connected as fans. And that was the original thing Mike said to me when he first called me was, "Hey, I think these people are just like us." And that was kind of ended up being the theme. So as the book sort of, we would go to an event and we would start to understand what the book was a little bit more, and then we'd go to another event and understand what the book was a little bit more, and then we would go to things separately and just kind of, visualize. And so that's what really shaped the book. But it's like the book shaped itself. So Mike's right. We put 50 events down. That I remember we had this meeting right at the very beginning in his office, and we didn't go to almost any of those events. I mean, we went to some. We went to the World Darts Championship. We knew we were going to do that. We had some other ideas, but generally speaking, we didn't go to almost any of those events because the book ended up going in a direction that we both loved.
Interesting.
Which was much more driven by both friendship and the fact that fans are kind of all alike.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I love that part of it because how you find your fandom sort of I guess it's in sort of your personality. Like for me, most of my fandom comes from just incredible civic pride. Find yourself somebody that loves you as much as Kansas City people love Kansas City, and you'll be happy for the rest of your life. And so there's so much civic pride for the things in my rooting interest there. And there's also people in town that I know that are contrarians that are like, oh, everybody roots for the Chiefs. Screw that. I'm rooting for the Raiders. Okay, how's that working out for you now? So that was fun. Good for you. Good for you. Well done, fellas.
And I like Payne, so I'm a Missouri alum. I'm a Mizzou alum, so I like Payne. So yeah.
The worst ways to lose. Find out that you can be a Mizzou guy. So I do love that part of it. Did you guys? You mentioned you both have day jobs. So do you attend all of these events together? Do you divide and conquer? How did that go about? In creating these great experiences on the road with your friend, but you also have to figure out who's going where, and were all these events attended together?
No, it was exactly what you said. We did a lot of, and also at one point we were going to go to almost everything together, and then it's like, you know what? It'll start to sound the same. It'll start to lose sort of that rhythm and that surprise that we want. So we went to some events together. We went to some events separately. We went to some events that we didn't go together, but we still kind of connected with each other as we were writing them. So it's a whole lot of different things. And we had a couple of events where we challenged each other to go to something that we loathe. That was a big thing. So try to figure out what it is that people love. So Mike sent me to a pickleball tournament in Kansas City, which I do write about at some length.
Oh my goodness.
Good boy, do I loathe pickleball. Yeah,
really?
but,
okay, that's a whole other segment we can get into.
That's a whole other segment, But I found the humanity in it, which is what we were trying to do.
Great.
And then I sent Mike to Las Vegas to WrestleMania because he loathes wrestling. But it was so fun because we were feeding off of each other all the time, and we did those things with open eyes. Mike knows that I do not like pickleball because I'm a tennis guy, and I think pickleball's taken over for tennis and all of these other things. But it was also no, I mean, you can't go there and we're not going there to make fun of it. Mm-hmm. We're going there to find out millions and millions and millions of people love this. It's a big part of their lives. Why? What is it about this sport?
That's awesome.
And it was so great. It ended up being so great.
Do you was the event hosted at Chicken and Pickle or anything, Joe? Do you remember where that was?
No, but I will say this, that the person because I had to both play and watch the tournament. I had to go to the tournament and also play in the tournament,
great.
the Pro-Am version of the tournament. And my partner, who I had never met, I met her a couple of days before we did this, she's like, hey, a bunch of us are going to the Chicken and Pickle tonight, before the event. Do you want to come to the Chicken and Pickle? And I was like, definitely not. There's no, I mean, no offense to the Chicken and Pickle, but no, I'm not going to that. So, I really, truly came in with a pretty bad attitude about pickleball. But I did it. I played. I watched, and I did find some real joy there.
That's great, Michael. If he had to play pickleball, I'm assuming then you had to get in the ring with WrestleMania.
Well, that was the key, right? Was he found WrestleMania, which was a great thing to do to me because it's about the last thing in the world I want to attend. But he was feeling a little bit like, it's not quite as bad because I had to play pickleball, and obviously you can't wrestle. But then what happened was my agent it was a big Grateful Dead fan and Dead and Company fan, and he has over the years invited me a number of times to see concerts. And they happened to be playing at the Sphere in Las Vegas the same weekend as WrestleMania. So I said to Joe on the phone, it's funny, my agent just invited me to a Dead and Company show, and I told him I couldn't go because of WrestleMania. And Joe was like, maybe you should go to that too. And suddenly I realized, I just walked right into a trap.
Wow. And
so what I end up doing is going to a Dead and Company show on a Saturday night and WrestleMania on Sunday night. It was I refer to it as the world's weirdest biathlon, and so the chapter it's me writing about going to the two events that are at the extreme opposite ends of the vibe spectrum in one single weekend.
That's amazing. It's a little bit like Colin and Michael with writing each other's jokes at the end of the season for
That's
Weekend
exactly
Update.
what it is. Yeah,
that's great. Michael Schur and Joe Posnanski, our guests. Do you guys have a favorite event that maybe individually or together that stood out to you guys? Maybe not necessarily you write about it as being your favorite in the book, but one that you look back on a little more fondly.
I'll tell you what, my favorite event for Mike, for sure, was, in addition to just to show that we're not always that cruel to each other, we also gave each other a dream chapter where we would get to do something we've always wanted to do. And Mike's a huge Liverpool fan, and so he always wanted to, he's never been to Anfield to see a Liverpool match. So we went to a Liverpool match against Man United on a miserably cold day in Liverpool. And I went with, and I don't care at all about Liverpool. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. But honestly, and Mike can tell you, because obviously he wrote the chapter, it's one of my favorite chapters in the book. But honestly, seeing your friend like get to do something that he's always wanted to do like that. I mean, he's Mike. He's gotten to do pretty much everything. But I mean, he was like a little kid. It was so cool to watch somebody get to do exactly what they wanted to do. It was really special.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely high up on my list. The only other one that really felt like that special from a sports fandom point of view was I went to the U.S. Serbia semifinal basketball match in Paris at the Paris Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And I'm a massive NBA fan, and seeing that game, which is like an all-time classic of international basketball, and seeing Steph Curry just absolutely go nuclear, and seeing Jokic, and seeing Durant and Embiid and all those guys that I have watched so carefully over the last 10 years, all together on the same team in that arena at that moment, that felt like, I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I remember that game. I remember where I was because we were leaving an event with my wife, and I think it was it was a high school reunion, in fact, and I made sure that she didn't have much to drink because I needed her to drive leaving there so I could watch my phone that event.
Yeah.
But Joe, Michael, it's for my work. Okay, I have to watch this for work. I'll be talking about this tomorrow. I can't miss this. I just need you to drive. After the game's over, I'll drive the rest of the night. You do whatever you want. Just this trip, I need it for work, of course.
Babe, the cornhole tournament's on.
We're on your side here.
Thank you.
It's a very rational thing you did.
Thank you very much. Now, the divorce papers are almost done, but, sure, it's all good. Worth it is what I would say. Totally worth it. Michael Schur and Joe Posnanski is our guest. I'm wondering, with you guys writing this book, is there a fandom that you're most passionate about? That's something that is above all else, that gets your attention, that gets your emotions or blood either boiling or just elation? Is there one over another that you just allow yourself to be more of a kid in that fandom?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's baseball. Baseball was my first love. I was tortured by Red Sox fandom my entire life until 2004. And then, since then, I've had a lot go right. But, we've won 4 World Series in the last 20 years. And yet, when they start a season and they suck, like they're currently sucking, I still feel it in the depths of my soul in the way that I remember feeling it in the mid-'80s or early 90s. So, we both love all sports. I love football. I love basketball. I love soccer. But baseball is always the thing that will make me feel the most childlike, both in my passion and in my misery and sadness.
Exactly. Joe?
Yeah. I mean, that's where that's our connecting point, right, is baseball. I mean, there were so many fun things, but there's a lot of very specific baseball, including what is probably my favorite chapter of the book, and it's one that I don't want to talk too much about because I want it to just come on people and surprise them and all of that. But it's a specific baseball chapter, and it's very specific about how much we love baseball. It's very specific to how much Mike and I connect on baseball. That's where we first connected as fans, and so that's really special. But I think, the what's so cool and what was so fun is when we went to the World Darts Championship, as we knew we would. Like, that was the one thing that was guaranteed we were going to do. And we were sitting in our, regular jeans and polo shirts among, a million people dressed as bananas and minions and everything else. We were like, this could not be more foreign to us. The sport, the way people are acting, the way they're singing, the drunkenness is, well, that was familiar. But everything else was, not super familiar. And yet it's like, oh, these are our people. Somehow these are our people. It's like, this is exactly like the joy and anger and fun that everybody's feeling. This is what we feel, and that was great. I mean, that was to me. There were several lessons, but that was the big lesson to me. Is that, boy, a whole lot connects us.
Did you guys feel overdressed or underdressed at the darts championship?
somehow both at the same time. It's hard to explain. I mean, we were heading out to go to Alexandria Palace where the darts are held in London, and we were with a friend of ours. And he said, "You're going to the darts?" And we said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're wearing that?"
Like that?
and we were like, "You mean pants and a shirt?" Yeah, that's what we thought we would wear. And then we got there and understood what he meant, because the weird thing about the darts is it's not just that everybody's in costume. They go in groups in costumes, so you'll see like 4 Dumbledores walking in tandem, and they walk past a group of like 8 guys all dressed like the Jamaican bobsled team from the 80s. It's so disorienting. It's really weird, but it is also communal, right? It's like people are doing this together, and they've planned this, and they have made it's a 2-week tournament. It's not short. Like they people go every night. And it's really wild to see, and like you can't, even though it's so foreign, like Joe was saying, you can 100% identify with the mindset and the passion and the excitement and the community of it. That's really what lasted with us, is the sense of community.
Joe Posnanski and Michael Schur is our guest. I have a question, last one for each of you individually, something specific to you. But Joe, I'm going to bring it back to Kansas City, because one of the things that, wanting to talk to you a couple of weeks ago around Kansas City, the city ordinance gets passed and the city council approves downtown baseball where Crown Center is, and I know that you're familiar with that area, but what's great for me is I've said this joke a couple times, that there's some truth to it, that when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, if you ended up downtown, you took a wrong turn. And now it's a destination. And I'm curious, from your standpoint, Joe, from when you were writing at the Star to now, did you think that downtown would ever look like this, to where T-Mobile, Power and Light, the Union Station renovation, now the K moving down next to that, and then connecting it to Crown Center, connecting it to the Plaza? Did you think that it would ever be a destination around here to go downtown?
Well, it was hard to imagine, honestly. I mean, it was barren. I mean, when I first started at the Star, of course, Star was on 18th and Grand. Yeah. And there was nothing. It was nothing. The only thing that was there was a parking lot like 2 blocks away that we had to park at. And every time we would go, there would be a guy there holding out his finger like it was a gun and saying "pop, pop, pop, pop," like as we would walk to the place. Yeah, as one does, and we called him Popeye, and we'd be like, "Hey, did you see Popeye today? He was looking pretty good." But that was it. That was downtown Kansas City at the time, and it really it bothered me, because, especially because of how much I love the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and I would just hear from people. I'm like, "You've got to go," and people would be like, I don't want to go to that neighborhood. I don't want to, And now it's like booming and wonderful, and one of my favorite parts about the stadium moving downtown is what it's going to mean for the new Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. I mean, it's so special. So, I could not have imagined it. But when I come back to Kansas City, to that new airport, then I go downtown, I'm like, it's still the same town, but it's not. Yeah. It's not the same town.
Absolutely. And then last one, Michael, for you, it is one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Parks and Rec, and I maybe my favorite character of all time is Ron Swanson. How does one develop and create that character? Is it part of the writers? Is it part of you? Because the Ron Swanson quotes are some of the best quotes ever, and I have to imagine just sitting around and thinking of things Ron Swanson can say that are life lessons has to be a blast. How do you come up with what is an iconic character like Nick Offerman playing Ron Swanson?
It's always a combination of things. In this case, it was the concept of the character was a guy who worked in government but was a libertarian and wanted government to be completely destroyed from the inside, which is a funny idea.
That's a great bit.
Then it goes to finding Nick Offerman, who is, a guy who at the time was 40 years old, otherworldly talented, but for one reason or another had kind of slipped through the cracks in Hollywood and had never had like a big role, which meant, oh my God, we get to be the ones to break this guy at age 40. Like that's just such a rare thing. And then the alchemy of the character idea, the actor playing it, and then the contributions of a lot of very, very funny people. I mean, that character is so special, but he's special in part not just because of the way Nick played him, because he's a generational talent as an actor, but the writers, I mean, some of my favorite lines, my friend Dan Gore wrote this joke for him where he said his favorite restaurant in town was the food stand at the bowling alley. And it's, hot dog $1, has, hamburger $2. And Rashida Jones's character says, aren't you scared to eat there? And he says, when I eat, it is the food that is scared. And that's Dan wrote that joke, and so many other people wrote so many great lines for him. And so it's all the answer to that question with any great character. It's always a combination. It's a lot of writers, a lot of really funny people, a great actor, a great idea, the right place at the right time, and that's what Ron Swanson is.
I've always wanted to order all of the bacon and eggs at a restaurant, and then say, "Wait, I think you may have heard me say I want a lot." I said I want all of them.
I worry.
That's what it is.
I worry that what you heard was give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was give me all of the bacon and eggs. All of the bacon and eggs.
And my favorite one is the two things I hate in this world are liars and skim milk, because it's just water lying about being milk. Yeah, amazing. Michael Schur, Joe Posnanski, I had a blast. This was a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to read the book. Big fan, comes out May 19th, and you guys will be in town here in Kansas City at Unity Temple with Rainy Day Books on May 21st, so that's a week from today, with Jason Kander emceeing that. That is really cool. Where can people go if they want to attend that particular event with you guys?
They can certainly go online. They can go to Rainy Day Books. It's been great. We're getting early numbers, and awesome. Kansas City's always been such a great town for both of us, actually, and so it's filling up, but there's still tickets available, and God, we'd love to see everybody out there.
That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. I had an absolute blast talking with you guys. This was really, really cool. So thank you so much for joining us, and have fun on the tour that gets started in 4 days.
We will. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. There's Michael Schur, writer, producer, Saturday Night Live, The Office, Parks and Rec, as I had mentioned, and then Joe Posnanski, that people in Kansas City certainly are familiar with as former Kansas City Star columnist. And as, like I said, he's the author of my favorite all-time book, which is The Soul of Baseball, because maybe my favorite all-time person is Buck O'Neil, and the stories and following Buck for a year and what Buck did to get the Negro Leagues into the Hall of Fame. And it just happened to be that Joe's with him what ended up being the final year of his life, and really putting what he had left in his life to get those players that hadn't received the recognition they deserved to get in the Hall of Fame. It's a fantastic book. And I have to imagine that this book is going to be pretty good as well. Big fan. Comes out May 19th. So there you go. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone coming up next. We are hanging out here on a Thursday edition. I mean, all the stars are showing out, right? We got Joe Poznansky and Michael Schur. That is awesome. Jeff Chadia's hanging out here at the studio, just hanging around and dropping off some cool cookies for us. That's awesome, man. Thank you, Casey Cookies. He's got that going for us. We got Dewey's Pizza here, taking pizza to the next level.
We need a longer break.
Oh, really? Really? You need a longer break so that you can eat, or we just have a regular break, and then I talk, and you can then enjoy your food, which is typically the way it works.
For Dewey's Pizza.
Okay. 95th and Mission.
These mics don't stand up.
Right, but these colors don't run either.
We're doing it. Live bite of the Korean barbecue.
Do you need
pizza.
to do the live bite? Do we really need? I don't know that we need to do the live bite. You can.
Oh my gosh! That's
see, there you go. It's very good. It's very good. I have not got a chance to taste it yet.
Dude,
I am going to dig into the Korean barbecue pizza.
I didn't
at
know
Dewey's.
it was a Korean barbecue guy until just now.
Oh, how about that?
I didn't know what Korean barbecue was until the
pizza
taste explosion.
Yes. Sweet chili sauce, mozzarella, kimchi, soy brown sugar, caramelized onions, diced Korean barbecue chicken, thighs, pickled ginger. You got the chili crisp, mayo, parsley, and cilantro mix after the bake. And that is at Dewey's Pizza. You can mix and match any two pizzas to create your ultimate half and half. They've got an excellent beer and wine list. Also offers gluten-free crust and dairy-free cheese. So something for everyone there. So that's cool. And it's at 95th and Mission in Ranch Mart. Doesn't matter what you try, everything is great there. And they are taking pizza to the next level.
Oh my goodness.
There you go. You can go get yourself some pizza, or Ron Swanson would say, give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Don't teach a man to fish and feed yourself. He's a grown man. Fishing's not that hard. That was fun. I really had a blast with that, and Joe Poznansky, who spent a number of years here, and just getting his perspective from, obviously we were talking about the book, but I wanted to ask before we let him go just about the entire facelift of downtown. And once the cap gets there with the greenage and sort of connecting the north and south side of, 670 or whatever that is right there, just north of the Kansas City Star building, but south of T-Mobile, right there.
Yeah.
When they put that cap on top of the highway there, then that's going to be even better. It's going to make for great scenery. But to think that he had one person that they would call Popeye that would, act like they were shooting guns at him and go pop, 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 pop when they would show up to the Kansas City Star building, to now what is downtown with from the riverfront to T-Mobile and Power and Light, and then Crown Center having this facelift around there as well, with the new K moving to that area and the renovation of Union Station being a destination place as opposed to, well, tear it down or renovate it. Luckily, the decision was to renovate it and uplift and give everything that Union Station has now, where there's so many different things that you can go with your family, and not just a place to travel to and from, but a place to visit and go to and see really cool things.
I love going downtown now. I mean,
yes,
honestly,
dude,
when I was a kid, there was nothing, and now, I mean, I'm seeing Billy Currington downtown at Power and Light. There's so many things, and I'm going to hang out beforehand. It was fun. I remember I was going to a concert at the Truman. Love the Truman down there. Go to a lot of concerts. Just walking around, popping into bars before I go, and it felt like it. You're right. It used to be like, I don't know if I want to walk down here.
No.
And now I'm just walking by myself downtown at night, walking in, popping in bars like, oh, this looks fun. Let me go here and check this place out, or let me walk to this place. It's fun to explore down there now.
Yep.
Explore this Dewey's Pizza.
You are, let room to roam, here with Dewey's Pizza. But they will, Joe Poznansky and Michael Schur will be in town a week from today. Rainy Day Books at Unity Temple, and Jason Kander will be hosting the event, and that is the 21st of May. They're doing a 5-city tour with this book, Big Fan, starting in New York on the 18th, Boston on the 19th, St. Louis on the 20th, Kansas City the 21st, and then ending it in L.A. on the 22nd. So those are the only 5 cities: New York, Boston, L.A., and then St. Louis and Kansas City.
Did you say what time? Because I might try and swing by.
No, but you can go to, I should check it out as well.
Rainy Day Books.
Rainy Day Books
I
has,
love Rainy Day Books. It's so It's such a cool bookstore. So neat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and stop by, I think.
Yeah,
because
I'm
one, I want the
try
book. Two, it'd be fun to meet them.
I'm definitely going to try to stop by.
3, I love Rainy Day Books. 4, I just wanted to keep counting numbers.
5.
I just want to let people know I can count to 4.
And what about 5th?
Don't know about it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
Oh, sorry. I'm a Mizzou fan. I know about 5.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. So what is the thing about 5s?
Stop it.
Oh, you can just kick this segment down the road if you want to. In about, 4 point whatever seconds? You can do that?
I'm so mad at you right now.
Right, but we can say it about ourselves. You can't say, I'll talk about my uncle or brother
I get it,
or
but
whatever.
I'm still...
You can't do that. So we can, Michael can't join in that conversation. He's not allowed.
You
He's
can't
not.
do that.
Then it's offensive.
Then it is offensive.
Then we're fighting. You and I talking about it, it's, sort of laugh instead of cry,
Pain.
Wounds. When shall they heal?
Chiefs are going to heal next year.
I think so too, as Patrick is healing. And we know about 8 games of the Chiefs' schedule. Michael, how many games do you think you will know by the time you get on the air at 6 o'clock tonight?
I'm going to guess 15.
Oh, wow. 15.
I think we're going to have a lot of them. Especially the schedule comes out at 6, 7 Eastern. I wouldn't be surprised if by 5:30 we have 14, 15.
Interesting.
It's like the NFL draft, before
Essentially, yeah.
the pick is done.
Which, maybe this is very counterproductive, but I feel like the schedule release is not as exciting as it could be because we already know who they're going to play.
Yeah, right.
Where they're going to play.
Yeah.
We just don't know the times.
Yeah, it's just the order that we figure out.
That would honestly be the NFL. I'm surprised they don't do that. The
so
NFL,
much more money could be made.
Yeah, the NFL literally didn't let you know what teams you played. You're like, are we AFC North or are we NFC West? Like, who we playing next year?
And guess what? You could sell commercials. That could be the next draft. That would be...
Who do you want to play? Who do you not want to play?
Who do you want to play?
Damn it, Michael. You just made the NFL make us spend more money because this is going to be shown on Howdy Network.
Howdy Network?
True TV and Fubo.
But also, we find out the Chiefs are not playing international games. We know they're playing on Thanksgiving. And we know the Christmas Day slate. And, of course, the Chiefs are not playing. Yeah!
Wait, seriously?
No Christmas Day for the Chiefs this year. So the Christmas Eve game is Texans at Eagles. That is Christmas Eve.
Good game.
On Amazon. And the Christmas Day tripleheader, Packers at Bears on Netflix
Great
at noon.
Game. Love it.
Bills and Broncos, Netflix at 3:30.
Love it.
Rams, Seahawks, Fox at 7:15.
Love it.
So that is the Christmas Day triple header. Does not include
You
the
named
Chiefs.
8 teams.
Because the Christmas Eve.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Christmas Eve and then the Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, I'd be more okay with. Christmas Day, I'm
with you.
And I said earlier in the show that I know I'm spoiled, and I am appreciating it in real time. Appreciating it in real time. All of the not only nationally televised games, primetime games, but the holiday games. But I am sort of tired of some of the holiday games, and they're playing Thursday night, Thanksgiving,
awesome,
whatever.
Love
I didn't want them to play on Christmas.
Aren't
I know
you
that
gonna
Clark
watch
Hunt wants them.
Thanksgiving football no matter what.
I am, but I like sort of sitting back and just enjoying it and not being sort of stressed and in a glass case of emotion throughout the day.
But it's that night. At least it's not a day game, and if they lose, they ruin your
Thanksgiving. Nobody ever is nervous leading up to games. That never happens. You never have anxiety and stress leading up to games playing. It's always right at kickoff.
Not that early. It's not a playoff game.
It'll be starting. It starts now. I'm already concerned about Chiefs and Bills and Thanksgiving night. My Thanksgiving's already ruined because of that. No, sure. It was annoying, though, with the Chiefs and Cowboys because the Chiefs couldn't get it done. It wasn't as bad as the Chiefs and Raiders that ruined Christmas for a lot of people.
Yeah, that did.
That was a rough day. And for whatever reason, that game, and I talked about it at the time, that game, more specifically than other games that year, really bothered me and stuck with me. And just the rest of the day, I was just in a bad mood from that game. And I have tried, and I think I've done a pretty good job of not having my mood carry over from the result of the game. But that day specifically, for whatever reason. But they didn't lose again that year. So
that'll cheer you up.
What?
Dewey's Pizza.
Yep. We should Dewey that. I've got a couple of slices right in front of me that I'm going to enjoy. We'll take a timeout, come back. The Chiefs are not on Christmas Day playing football. Mike, you don't have to work on Christmas Day this year,
Yay.
except for running the show here that Sterling will be hosting. More Zone coming up next. All right, hanging out on a Thursday edition of The Zone. We're probably not going to be able to do sports or leisure. Phone lines acting up a little bit, but that's okay. We will, we'll just do trivia amongst ourselves. I'll just ask you guys some questions and see, because Sterling likes to answer the questions anyway for the callers. I'll just play the game that he really likes anyway.
Do you have a Jamal Charles question?
You know what? I think I actually do. I think I actually do have a Jamal Charles question in the category today. So some of those will be left over. All that work I put in last night to be done in by phone.
Oh, you're talking about the work you put in for
That's right.
This.
For this, yes.
Oh, okay.
I still put in work, sitting there watching the Royals play. That was tough, too. That was difficult. I'm going to go ahead and say 6-5 tonight. I don't know why, but 6-5 is just, for whatever reason, popping into my mind for Royals White Sox right now.
6-5 Royals win.
Oh.
This is feeling like a 2-0 stinker. Sox win. This is feeling not good.
Yeah,
I sure hope not.
Because they've scored 5 runs the last couple of nights while having other opportunities. Bubic is going to go out there and just throw BBs with Bubic on the mound, and the Royals offense is going to go quiet. And it's going to be, good God, man, can you put it together? It's a big game. Big game tonight. Don't want to get swept by the White Sox. You don't want to be 2-5.
Who blows it?
In 7 games against the White
I'll
Sox.
take Schreiber tonight.
Nah, he pitched last night. And blowing it would mean that they would have the lead. I'll take my chances with the lead with Strom and Urseg. I'll take my chances. Give it to me right now that the Royals have a lead. Strom and Urseg are out there. I'll take it right now. Sign me up. I'll settle out of court. Settle in. Settle out of court. You're not going to be settling if you go check out Dewey's Pizza in Ranch Mart, 95th and Mission. Taking pizza to the next level, and they're doing that with the the flavor profile of the new Korean barbecue pizza. That there's a kick right at the beginning, and it is so good. And then the taste that's left over after is just as good, and it's like, okay, well, now I need another bite of that, which is difficult when you're hosting a show. But great stuff from Dewey's. We certainly appreciate
I am
that.
inhaling this pizza.
Yep.
It's insane. Delicious.
Do you have the Don Corleone? Is that also what's there with the pepperoni, salami, capicola, ham?
I have the other
Dre?
one.
The Dr. Dre?
That one looked good. The Dr. Dre looked fire.
Yeah.
I have the Mediterranean one with the olives and onions and feta.
Great.
Amazing.
Is that the Snoop then? We don't have the Dr. Is that the Snoop? We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Unfortunately, no sports or leisure today. Phone line stuff. Phone line stuff. That's what we got going on here. So no sports or leisure. But we had brought up earlier in the show that Jesse Newell put out yesterday the piece at The Athletic that says Chiefs offseason winners and losers, which players received votes of confidence. So it's not just like Chiefs offseason winners or losers. Hey, this positional group got better. This did not. I like that he looked at it through the lens of specific players. Which player benefited from the offseason and the moves they've made so far, and which player was put in a tougher spot in the offseason. And the number one beneficiary of the offseason moves or lack thereof, I get, going with this particular player. And if I sat down and really started just like pen to paper, pro and con, ranking them, I may end up at this spot. But my first thought, if you said who was the winner in the offseason for specific players in general, he went Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Because they did not bring in a new wide receiver in free agency. They re-signed Tyquan Thornton, and they didn't go Tyson or Tate or Casey Concepcion or Mekhi Lemon in the first round or second round. They didn't have a third round or fourth round. They end up going Cyrus Allen later on in the draft. So they bring in a wide receiver, but not one that you're going, boom, here's the new number one receiver. So I get it from that standpoint that the winner is Rashee Rice. I would have gone, my first thought and my first instinct was Chris Jones is the biggest winner because they are putting pass rushers around him, that it isn't just going to be Chris Jones has to constantly take on double teams, and if the Chiefs are going to get to the quarterback, it's because Chris Jones. Or other guys are going to benefit from him beating his opponent, the offensive lineman, the chip, the double team, and collapsing or at least pushing the interior of the pocket without somebody being able to win on the outside to collapse the pocket, sort of almost allowing to a degree the quarterback to escape one way or another. I think with Peter Woods next to him and hopefully Omar Norman-Lott, and if R. Mason Thomas on one side and Karlaftis on the other, or even if you put Chris Jones outside and you move different guys inside, or FAU, whatever it is, in obvious passing situations, there will be more opportunity, I believe, for Chris Jones to get some one-on-one matchups. But I think it could result in Chris Jones, even if he's trying to work through a double team, if other guys make the quarterback move, and Chris Jones is it benefits from somebody else winning.
Yeah.
And that quarterback not being sacked by that guy, but getting sacked by Chris Jones because that guy flushed him from the pocket and Jones was there to clean up, which we've seen so often Jones do for other players.
Yeah, I think Chris Jones is a very intriguing one. My initial thought was Rashee Rice.
Okay.
My second initial thought, which I've now actually taken back, because I think a lot of people might have had this thought as well, Jalen Moore. I think Jalen Moore could have been a big winner as far as they didn't draft a tackle high. I don't think any of us thought so, but the national smokescreen of that didn't bring in anyone
good point.
in the offseason really either, as far as your backups are Wanya Morris and Esapole.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say no, he's on the final year of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
He probably isn't getting an extension either way. And I don't know, even if you draft a rookie, let's say even the second or third round, even if it wasn't a first, I know they don't have the third, but just even if it fell differently, I think Jalen Moore was still going to start this year.
Yeah, I think so.
And so the more I kind of think about it, I don't think Jalen Moore was necessarily that big of a winner necessarily. I think for me, one of the biggest winners might be a little funny to say, kind of the same reason you brought up. It's also in the defensive line. It's Gelati.
Okay.
Because they didn't spend a first round, like a super high first.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Peter Woods, but he's an interior
But
guy.
that's going to be an interior guy. They didn't go and get Ruben Bain to play opposite
They
George
didn't
Karlaftis,
get Bain.
three-down player.
They didn't get a 3-down guy. They got R. Mason Thomas, so Gelati's role is basically going to stay the same and hopefully got easier with the addition on the interior of some potential pass rush guys. So I think for me, Gelati's got to be feeling pretty good that, hey, okay, they did draft an edge rusher, but we have very vastly different skill sets. There's not a crossover here. It wasn't Bain or a 3-down guy. Even Zion Young would have been bad, I think, for him. Like, Zion Young would have been okay, so Gelati really is a backup overall.
He's now going to become Mike Dana earlier in his career. That was a nice role player, but not a guy that's, hopefully you're not relying upon him being a starting player week in and week out. Gelati and R. Mason Thomas, as I've said a number of times, of building it in the aggregate of a guy that can be a 3-down lineman. If Gelati's the guy that can be in there more for run-stopping ability, and maybe he's a guy that then, okay, well, Gelati's in there, you move him down to the interior on a pass rush. Okay, well, moving things around. It's Spags maybe, or Joe Cullen might be the biggest beneficiary of just the different things he can do with the defensive line.
Cooper McDonald, I think, was huge.
Yeah, because you didn't re-sign Leo.
Nope.
And you didn't go and get a player
strong side linebacker
fill that particular role, right? You talked about Jalen Moore, but it actually made me think of somebody else that could be a winner, because your same reasoning is why I probably wouldn't go with Jalen Moore is because he only has 1 year left on his contract. And so if he was a swing tackle, fine, he's a swing tackle. It's not like, oh, wow, they are really saying they don't trust you.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 1 year left on his deal. I think one of the winners, sneaky winner, could be Esapole.
Sure.
That if Jalen Moore has 1 year left on his deal and Esapole is still on a rookie contract, right, as a UDFA, and they didn't bring anybody in as, a tackle that they drafted, because the left side, they feel confident about that. And at tackle and guard, I think they feel pretty good about what they have watching them in the first year playing together. Center and right guard, that's already taken care of. You know that. Right tackle, such the unknown. We saw Esapole get out there and play some. We saw him perform to a level that was higher than what you would expect from an undrafted free agent that is on his second team but third different stop, but second team, Chiefs, Jets, Chiefs. So the Chiefs gave up on him, Jets gave up on him, Chiefs get him back, and he starts playing. That could be one to where they go, we don't think we need to take a tackle right now, because there's a chance this next year we find out Esapole is going to grow into that role anyway, and we have our answer. We can slow play it, though, with Jalen Moore and Esapole, and this time next year, we're also not looking for tackle because we feel like Pole is going to be the guy that fills in. I would say winner from opportunity standpoint, not winner from, okay, now you're the guy, but winner from they're allowing you an opportunity to be the right tackle, you and Jalen Moore, at least for the year, and maybe the answer long term, because if they drafted a right tackle, you're out. That's the guy they're going with. They clearly felt they needed an upgrade for a guy for the next 4 years. Depending on where they drafted him. Wanya Morris was the third rounder. That didn't work out. Kingsley was the second rounder. That didn't work out. So depending on where you draft the tackle, certainly makes a difference. But Esapole, I think, is a winner from an opportunity standpoint. And maybe the same thing with Cooper McDonald. That an opportunity from somebody's got to fill that role of Leo Chenal. Cooper, it may be you because you're the best equipped to do it, or it may be you by process of elimination. Either way, right now it seems to be you. So you've got a chance from being an undrafted free agent, essentially, a walk-on, to now getting a chance to be Leo Chenal that, started 11 games last year, 12 games, 13, whatever it was, playing almost half the snaps on defense. Somebody has to fill in those snaps. And it didn't seem like they were just saying, well, Jeffrey Boss is going to be the guy.
No.
Even though they drafted him. Cooper McDonald seemed to be the one that they put in that spot. So I think from an opportunity standpoint, he's a big winner here because he's getting the opportunity to slide into that Leo Chenal spot. Almost feels like the first crack at it.
To me, I think Cooper and Boss, though, are so different.
Yes, 100%.
Linebackers. It's not just, three. They both have an LB next to the name, so they're the same. No, obvious third down situations, you could put, passing situations, that'd be Bossa, but first and second for sure. Any of those obvious rundowns, you're going to have Cooper. That the Leo role is not going to be for Boston. There's just the weight difference even there is drastic.
Well, Leo played more than half of the snaps last year on defense, and something that I found surprising is that he played more special team snaps than both Bossa and McDonald, which makes sense, but you wouldn't think of that from a guy that started over 53% of the defensive snaps. But if you look at Bossa and McDonald and look at their roles, I understand McDonald probably fits more of what Leo Chenal was. Not saying they're a one-of-one replacement, but
Bossa or McDonald, which one?
McDonald is more of the Chenal replacement, but even then they did different things. And you even heard Spags last year talk about how there's not one guy that can replace Leo Chenal, which makes me wonder if they're going to try to hybrid linebacker, like have Boss out there occasionally, but have have McDonald try to tag team the production that Chenal gave them last year. But last year McDonald played more snaps on special teams and defensive overall than your fifth-round draft pick.
Well, and there's a big question about the running defense, and that was one of the things that we were talking about with Matt Lane before he broke the phone lines. I blame him, really. But it was, asking him about, he did the film study on Peter Woods, and my question was, did the Chiefs sacrifice run defense efficiency to improve the pass rush? And he said he doesn't think so, and especially at the interior. And I agree with that. I think they got better at the interior in stopping the run with Tonga and Woods as opposed to Pernell Noddy and then, Jerry Tillery. I think Peter Woods is a better run stopper than Jerry Tillery, and Tonga is a much better run stopper than Pernell and Noddy. So they got better there. But he said the big question is on the edge at the defensive line, because is it Gelati? Is it R. Mason Thomas, FAU? Who's going to be a guy that's going to be filling that role, but also Leo Chenal is gone, and that's the big question. And they can be a better pass rushing team while having the equivalent, or maybe even a little better against the run, if Cooper McDonald can fill the Leo Chenal role to a certain degree. I'm not going to say or even put it on his shoulders that, well, if Cooper McDonald can be Leo Chenal, this defense could be really, really good at stopping the run. Yeah, okay. And if Peter Woods can be Chris Jones, then, this defense will be amazing, right? But can he fill it to a large degree? Can he be 70% the run stopper that Leo Chenal was, while you're getting 150%, which is possible here? Not giving 110%, but getting 150% of the run stopping ability from two guys that you were getting last year from three different guys. Are you better than from that standpoint? And I think they can be. He just has to show that he can do it, because I don't think they have somebody else that would fit the profile that close. Like Bossa's profile is to take over for Drew Tranquill.
Correct.
And that was more of a, okay, this guy's going to be a special team ace right out of the gates. We know that. And if we have to move on from Drew Tranquill with a cuttable contract, we also can have him fill that role and slide into that position. So we are ready for a question a year from now. Well, they obviously did not go that route with Drew Tranquill. He restructured his contract. They did not cut him. They, gave him a pay cut. And Bossa is still looking like he's going to play the same role this year as he did last year. Maybe more effective. We'll see with the year off season. So Cooper McDonald's a good one. I think that's somebody that's a winner here. I do wonder about, and Jesse gave his reasons as to why he went with Rashee Rice, and I just wonder, because Rashee Rice is in the final year of his deal, and is there an avenue this year? Is there something Rashee Rice can do enough of where the Chiefs go, we trust you, we're going to give you a contract extension? Even if he plays every game, even if he doesn't get into trouble, does that give you the confidence that we know now he'll be this motivated and this driven now that he gets paid and gets a lot more guaranteed dollars? Because even if he's viewed as a good number two, you're talking about like $21 million, $22 million a year with 4 years, $80 million, $84 million, 50 of it guaranteed. You're giving $50 million guaranteed over 4 years to him, when the first 4 years have not exactly been that reliable and available and trustworthy there. I just don't know that there's anything Rashee Rice can do that would give the Chiefs a multi-year deal, because Sterling, what if he goes out there and he's a model citizen for a year and he puts up like 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns? Cool, he's going to get paid by somebody else a lot of money and not the Chiefs.
That was kind of I was going to make that joke basically of what if he goes for, the only thing he could do, I think, to be re-signed by KC, go for 1,400 yards, model citizen, and says, hey, I'm going to take $20 million a year tops for like 3 years, and there's going to be clauses in my contract of if I mess up, it's all void. Because some team will, if he does something like that, some team will pay him 25 plus.
There's a better chance that Isaiah Pacheco donated his salary to charity than that happening.
There is going to be that Facebook post that'll be Rashee Rice has decided he will take a
for free
hometown discount and will only take $10 million max per year when he could get 25 on the open market. He's just trying to show the Chiefs fans he cares that much, and people will believe it. That's something that somebody would do.
I find it very hard to see an avenue
Yeah.
where the Chiefs re-sign, because again, if he goes,
Because if he struggles, you're not re-signing him. If he's so good, then you're going to let somebody else do it. If he's just like, okay, he's a good receiver, he's fine. Okay, well, you're not. Are you going to give him
worth
the contract extension, the headache,
risk,
the potential headache, right? The potential headache for that money, as opposed to allocating it elsewhere and probably drafting a receiver. And you know what? He probably better hope that, Cyrus Allen is just generic and Jalen Royals doesn't take a big step forward, because if those guys prove that they are good receivers, as in like a 3 or 4, and Worthy is the guy that Andy Reid said, well, we took a lot off his plate once the injury happened in play number 3 of the season. These are all ifs, right? But if those things happen, it's also no need to re-sign Rashee Rice.
yeah,
Because then you would have a few guys that you feel comfortable with moving forward. And then that next draft, you can say tight end or receiver, who we getting in round 1 or round 2. Is it tight end? Is it receiver? Because Kelsey's walking. Or if it's Rashee Rice is walking and those guys didn't really, show that they could be relied upon, then in round 1, you're going to be mocked with about 90% of the time a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Or a tight end with Kelsey.
Just for this year specifically, though, it is Rice, because he gets a chance to go out and prove that he's a number one. Cause he's on the depth chart. He's going to be number 1 pretty clearly.
Yep.
They didn't go out and spend a second rounder even on a wide receiver. It's his spot.
Mm-hmm. He is wide receiver 1 right
so he'll have the chance to really put up big numbers, which in turn will potentially lead to a big payday for him. I think he goes with the case that Gray or Wiley, either of those two guys, were decent winners because they didn't
deep tight end draft and they didn't take one.
UDFA was what you got. We can talk about him or Brittingstall all we want, but they spent real draft capital on Wiley. They re-signed Noah Gray. We thought Noah Gray may have been a cap casualty.
Yeah.
He wasn't. I think for them, you'd probably say they're, at least Gray's fairly safe, unless there's a late surprise cut at some point. But I don't know what to make of Jared Wiley. I never saw it being translatable from college to the NFL. He's had all these injuries, but it's him, Brittingstall, or Gillenberg for that tight end 3 spot, and they might keep 4 guys.
And they still don't have an inline blocker at that tight end spot. I'll throw another one out there that I think is a winner, because the Chiefs.
You, America.
That's right.
Because you got to watch Chiefs on prime time.
That's right. You're darn right. They could have panicked or said, we don't have options, so we have to re-sign McDuffie. We don't have options. We have to re-sign Jalen Watson. But I think there's a vote of confidence for Noah Williams in that both those guys are gone. They replaced him with one, and obviously a lot of capital was invested in Mansour Delane. So there's one guy, but I think that's more Christian Fulton than Noah Williams. And I think you can let Jalen Watson walk for that money and trade Trent McDuffie, because you can replace Trent McDuffie with Mansour Delane and Jalen Watson with a guy you already have on a 3rd-round contract in Noah Williams. So I think he's got, right now, the clearest path to be the starting corner opposite Mansour Delane. Delane has the clearest path to be the number one corner. He's got the clearest path, starting corner. He's going to give every opportunity to be your starting day one against the Denver Broncos. Hey, you could be like a Pat Surtain type guy. Cool. You're going to be on the field with him game number one, okay? Not at the same time, but you get the point. The opposite of that, though, I think there is a wide avenue for Noel Williams to slide right in there, and the Chiefs going, we didn't pay Jalen Watson the money. We couldn't afford the Trent McDuffie, and getting the first rounder for him and third rounder was too much to pass up. But we could have paid Jalen Watson and had Mansour Delane and Jalen Watson. But they didn't. Why? Because they thought they had a replacement in Noel Williams. So I think that makes him a pretty decent winner. And maybe Shamari Connor can be a winner by not having to be placed in the slot and get exposed if Kennedy or Kohu or whoever else can fill that role at a higher degree than what Shamari Connor was doing. So I think there are a number of winners there, but I would, my first instinct, though, is Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Just by putting people around him that can offer at least some sort of a threat to rush the passer that isn't, where's 95? Let's shade the blocking scheme to him, double team him, and we'll do everybody else one-on-one. And the only thing we really have to worry about is George Karlaftis being a tough SOB. And he could win quickly from time to time, but it's going to be more power, and we also know this guy's motor isn't going to stop. So we have an idea of that. But Chris has every tool in the tool bag. We've got to double team him and shade him and everything else. Okay, if you do that and you leave one-on-one with a slow-footed tackle with R. Mason Thomas, Bengals, Orlando Brown, okay, well, then that guy's going to beat you around the edge. You double-team Chris Jones and you leave one-on-one with Peter Woods against a guard, well, hopefully, or Omar Norman-Lott, hopefully that results in those guys winning their one-on-one matchups against a guard, depending on what level of guard that guy is. So my first instinct was Chris Jones. I think I'm going to stay with Chris Jones being the number one winner of the offseason for this team.
I know we'll do the losers on the other side.
Oh, will we?
Oh, I want to.
No,
I want to. Yeah. But I wanted to give a quick little PGA.
Yes, PGA
update.
Where's your guy, DeChambeau? Where's he at?
Not my guy.
You put a lot of money on him.
I did not. I actually made sure I
said it was your 5-star bet of the year.
No, Xander Schauffele, top 20.
Lock of the century?
You heard me, didn't you?
He Sterling stamped it.
I said
Sterling stamped Bryson DeChambeau as the winner.
Xander Schauffele top 20, and Xander Schauffele right now tied for 5th.
There you go.
He fired off a 68 2-under today. Aldrich Pogater, he's tied for first with Steven Yeager and Minwoo Lee.
Made up names.
I've never heard of this guy before, so I apologize to Ryo Hizatuni.
More like
He's
Hizatuni.
also tied for first at 3 under. Some of the big-name guys as we go down the leaderboard, Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, and John Rahm, they all fired off 69 today. Nice, good for them. Let's see, who else? Ricky Fowler, he's still cooking. He is even.
Okay.
He shot a 70 today. Let's see, Cam Young, even through one, he just teed off. Scotty Scheffler, even through one, he just teed off. Let's see where good old DeChambeau is. I'm still scrolling.
Where's DeChambeau? Still scrolling.
Gary Woodland is a 72.
Okay.
Ludwig Oberg at 72. Bummed by that. I thought he was going to tear this course up. Keep scrolling. Wow, you're getting into some of these names here. Here we go. Bryson DeChambeau firing off a 76.
Oh, that's good.
6 over.
6 over. Is that good?
6 over.
The higher number is the better one, right?
I don't hate Bryson. I don't get where that started, but now I feel like I have to hate him because you said I love him so much. I'm agnostic on Bryson.
I don't know why I chose him this morning. It was the first name that came into my mind of somebody that you would place money on.
I'm agnostic.
That wasn't viewed as one of the favorites.
Hey, top 20 for Xander Schauffele.
Yep.
Come on now. Actually, I didn't see where Rory was. I think he was 2 over.
Rory.
And by the way, this PGA Championship scoreboard update brought to you by Dewey's, which I just crushed. Mm-hmm. I had like 9 slices, and I'm going to need a coffee because I kind of need a nap.
It's like your golf game. Just 9 slices.
Just 9.
And not crushing anything off the tee.
Stop by your local Dewey's Pizza in Overland Park today and try their new Korean barbecue seasonal pizza. That's what we had. That was phenomenal.
Yes.
Highly recommend it. Dewey's Pizza, taking pizza to the next level.
We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. We'll get into some Royals a little bit as well before the show is over. Get back into some Royals, a big concern from what we saw last night. And we'll get into some of the losers, which will bring us to what the Dolphins did in announcing that contract for Devon Etienne. I'm sorry, Achane. Is Achane the way they're pronouncing it now? Travis Achane and Devon Etienne. Devon Achane's contract, 4 years, $64 million, up to $68, $16 million annual average value. We'll talk about that, how it compares to Kenneth Walker. More Zone coming up next. We have a couple of more games that we know for the Kansas City Chiefs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 games so far that we know for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, we know, open up against the Denver Broncos Monday Night Football. Week number 2, they'll play Indianapolis, the Colts, on Sunday Night Football at home. So back-to-back home primetime games. Nothing for Week 3 yet. Week 4 at Vegas, 3:25. 5 and 6, still nothing. Week 7 at Seattle, but the game time hasn't been said for that one. So Week 7 at Seattle. Week 8 at Denver, 3:25 at Denver. So we were wondering if Denver would be like Week 17 or 18 and you like book in the Broncos there. Not the case. Week 8 at Denver, 3:25. And then jump ahead to Week 12, because 9, 10, and 11, we don't know the dates yet. I'm guessing one of those will be the bye week. I'm going to guess Week 11, because Week 12, 13, and 14 are all road games. At Buffalo on Thanksgiving night, Thursday Night Football on NBC. The next week, Thursday Night Football in L.A. on Amazon Prime. Week 14 at Cincinnati, 3:25. The Chiefs then return home for 2 home games. Week 15, New England at home for Monday Night Football. Week 16, San Francisco at home, 3:25 kick at Kansas City Stadium. Will the name be back up there by then? By Week 16, December 27th? Is it GH Field for Andy, or is it still Kansas City Stadium? I don't know. So 10 of the games we've learned.
I said it was going to be 14 or 15.
From your Kansas City Chiefs.
Got like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, you got a little bit of time. To come and figure that out. Let's go through, and we're talking about it. I think it was a really good piece by Jesse Newell talking about the winners and losers with the individual players from the offseason. And we talked about the winners, and as I said, like my first thought and reaction, and I'm going to stay with it, of the biggest winner of the offseason for a player was Chris Jones, by getting a little more help. Because Chris Jones is making a lot of money. And if you're making a lot of money, you need the production behind you. And I want that thack. Listen, I want that thack.
The biggest benefactor is you, Kansas City.
If he's making all that money, you'd like the production to be behind it.
Yeah.
And so
Spags.
With other guys, yeah, Spags is certainly well, I mean, he may be, but you're you're losing Trent and Jalen.
Yeah.
You're having to replace those guys. He does love himself some Minihue and Dana. He may be forced to take Connor out of the slot, and I don't know that he wants to do that. You force his hand, man. So yeah, a little bit there, but I went with Chris Jones. You went with Rashee Rice. The losers?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Patrick.
Okay, interesting.
But to an extent, you help him a lot with Kenneth Walker, and I'm thrilled by that. But you didn't get him a tight end. You didn't really get him a weapon offensively. The first, 5 picks were all defense, and if you would have counted the third, well, if you count the third rounder, that was used to trade up.
Yeah, so it'd be the first five selections,
right?
First 4 players, 5th rounder, then was Emmett Johnson, and then wide receiver.
I think, to me, that's kind of a bummer for him. I understand why. I'm not, like, complaining necessarily. I understand the thought process behind it, but I think that would be a little disappointing of, okay, and then you also don't go out and get Juwan Jennings, right? Like, for that money, you didn't get Juwan Jennings to bring him in here and help out. I don't know. I feel like that's at least disappointing. I think Brashard Smith he was mine. Not good. Yeah, I feel bad for him. That
was mine.
They brought
as
in
well.
3 guys.
Sorry,
3 different guys.
Yeah, like even if it was just Emmett Johnson and Kenneth Walker, you're like, okay, well, he's might be a third down guy, but DeMarcado's brought in. I don't see a path outside of between him and Remigio.
Yeah,
because Cyrus Allen hasn't done it. That's maybe the only good thing for Remigio is Cyrus Allen hasn't really been a returner. Maybe Jaden Hicks.
Yeah.
You can make a case for Jaden Hicks.
Yeah, because it could be by like a domino effect. Jaden Hicks, because if Kennedy's brought in to play the slot,
yes,
and Shamari Connor isn't playing that, Well, now Shamari Connor would fill more of Jaden Hicks' role that they wanted Jaden Hicks to be.
Correct.
Connor can be that, while Alohi Gilman is the Justin Reed role. So it would be Justin Reed and Brian Cook would make up more of the Alohi Gilman, maybe Shamari Connor / Jaden Hicks. But it would give him an opportunity. But again, he had an opportunity last year and couldn't get on the field. And Spags felt like he took a step backwards last year. And that's disappointing. Maybe he takes a step forward, and you've got 3 pretty good safeties with Gilman, Connor, and Hicks. And Connor in his last year. That would be nice.
Yeah.
And it'd be great if Hicks took a step forward, because you wouldn't go into next offseason going, well, now you need a safety.
No, it'd be...
Because Connor's gone and Hicks is not performing, so all you have is Alohi Gilman.
It'd be great, but I can't
Yeah.
trick myself into saying that when I said the same thing last year as
Right.
well.
Yeah. Well, Sky Moore's going to figure it out.
And maybe you can make a case for Jalen Royals, too, if you wanted to. If
I think so.
They drafted Cyrus Allen, Royals couldn't get in the field last year, and
if they bring back Juju,
then that's
then there's redundancy with Rice, Juju, and Royals.
yeah.
So that would be Rice, Juju, and Jalen. Royals, the R's and J's. That you have guys that do some sort of the same thing. Cyrus Allen is different than any other receiver they have on the team in his skill set and what he does. So not necessarily a knock for any other particular player, but Jalen Royals could fill Juju Smith-Schuster's role of a year ago. But if they bring back somebody like Juju, that's tough for Jalen Royals. That shows that they really don't have the faith that he can fill that.
Is this player a winner or a loser? Ashton Gelati.
I think he's a winner because they didn't get a 3-down defensive end.
And I initially thought that, but that's almost putting him into a role that could expose some things, and then he ends up maybe being a loser because they didn't give him help.
Or he can focus on one particular thing that will make him a lot of money in his career, that he can stay around playing in the NFL for 7 or 8 years by being a defensive end that this guy can set the edge, and he can stop the run, and he's got a motor that doesn't quit. He's going to get a second contract. Maybe not. He's not going to get, defensive end crazy money second contract, but he's not going to be 4 in the door in the NFL that when he's a 4-year veteran minimum and they're going, I don't know that it's really worth that, or you're just team to team on 1-year deals, that if he can come in the next 3 years, be a guy that right out of the gates, that this guy is going to stop the run. So maybe allowing him, not that he would not want to put more emphasis on becoming a better pass rusher, but if you say, first and second down, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run, that's going to be your job for this team. Herm Edwards, know your role, do your job. That's your job. You better be the best at it. Because if you're not, if you're only as good as our Mason Thomas stopping the run, then what's the point of having you in over him? Because we know he's a better pass rusher than you are already. So if it's second down and long, he's already in there because he's in there the first couple of downs. We don't have to go and making it, because if it's second and long and they don't sub, well, now we got to go and run and quickly sub. So we're not going to have time to match. Well, you're in there now and not having much of a pass rush. If you're only as good as our Mason Thomas at run stopping, I'm not going to play you over him.
There's no point in having him on the field.
Yeah, I'm not going to play you over him.
And we did see him last year step up in moments,
Yeah.
and he had the interception. I can't remember who it was against, but he showed spurts. But I almost wonder if he would thrive taking over for Mike Dana in that, I guess, edge 4 role. But now he's a projected starter.
Yep, because they don't have Cam Jordan yet.
Because they don't have Cam Jordan yet.
But I think also, we looked at the rookies last year. I was frustrated with Jeffrey Bossa not playing. We were frustrated with Jalen Royals not playing. Frustrated with Brashard Smith not playing. We were frustrated with Jaden Hicks not playing, too, as a sophomore, second-year player.
Yeah.
But Gelati wasn't that guy. He was playing.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah, no, but he wasn't the guy that we were frustrated by not playing because he was out there playing.
No, yeah, he was.
He was getting opportunities, and then late in the season, then he was starting and playing a lot. So Cullen and Spags, it didn't seem like they had concern over him not being able to do whatever the job was, whereas Bossa and Royals and Brashard Smith couldn't get on the field in their particular roles outside of special teams. They were special teams guys, but not offense, defense, running game, receiver, and linebacker until the last game of the season when the Chiefs were, tanking.
In fairness, Bossa made sense why he didn't play.
Yeah.
I mean, he made because they were having.
But even
trouble.
when you were out of it there and
I know,
Chanel's gone.
But before that, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
As far as who was playing when the game still quote unquote mattered.
Yeah.
Bossa wasn't understandable.
I
Royals
understand that.
wasn't semi-understandable because they were still trying to find snaps for Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown and all. So Royals, you kind of give a little pass to. Gelati, they needed him.
Yeah.
Because to start the year, the first 6 weeks, Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana were literally ranked the 2 worst.
So bad.
The 2 worst edge rushers.
They were so bad.
I remember looking up the PFF chart and all. It was alarmingly, hilariously bad.
It's 148 players qualify, and it's 148 and 146.
It's what it was.
I'm telling you, I remember writing the stuff down, and it was right around that. It was these are the 2 worst in the league.
And so that was when Gelati started to get a little more run, and he came out pretty hot when he had the almost safety early on, if I remember correctly, Gelati, and that was when we said
memory's better than mine.
It's when we started saying we want more Gelati. We want more Gelati because I remember after that play.
You wanted dessert, but not also a lot of the sugar and the fat.
No,
that
you
goes
wanted
along
to
with it.
stay
Brazil?
slim. No. No,
I
that was
remember
week
what you're
one.
talking about. It was.
It was well, I want to say week 4 maybe. But I feel like he started getting more snaps after that, and when that was the case, all of a sudden we realized, okay, he's not the. It was a Band-Aid. It wasn't stitches. It wasn't surgery. It was
It wasn't Karlaftis. It wasn't to
No.
where this guy will remind you of Karlaftis, and it's he'll remind you of Karlaftis like Sterling reminds you of
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
Yeah, I knew where you were going.
Thank you. I just couldn't remember it.
Morgan Wallen. I got Morgan Wallen again
Right.
yesterday.
Yeah, I mean
It's the mullet.
What I'm saying is, and that's probably
Stash.
that's going to be offensive to Ashton Gelati by me saying Sterling to Miles Teller is like Gelati to Karlaftis. Gelati's probably like, what the hell, man? Closer to Karlaftis.
least they
than
play
that
on the
guy.
same team.
I know, right? They play the same position. They both play in the same league.
Hey, I've played games with Miles Teller. We're in the same team.
You know what? You're right.
Right?
And played the same game.
And technically, didn't you win?
We
With him.
technically did, yeah.
Unlike
That
Gelati.
was more winning than the Chiefs did last year.
So,
Yeah.
maybe I should be offended.
That's why I think he's almost in the middle. Because, yes, he could be a winner because they didn't get a replacement for him, but he could be a loser because if it's week 4 and they still aren't getting to the quarterback, we're going to start pointing fingers at edge rushers, and once you get past George Karlaftis, it's him.
But also when the Chiefs knew they were done. So this is where the frustration was, why not Bossa, why not Bouchard, why not Royals? When they knew they were done, Mahomes tears his ACL and LCL against the Chargers. 3 games left. At Tennessee, home to Denver, at Vegas. Gelati's snap count percentage the previous few weeks leading up to that. So the previous weeks, 39.6, 34.8, 27.4, 43.1, 47.2, 50. Mahomes gets injured. 50 was against the Chargers. The next 3, 61.6, 62.5, 74.2. He was a guy that they said, yes, we will play him. 1, he had already played a number of snaps, but 2, I think there's part of he's going to be part of the solution at defensive line in some capacity over the next 3 years. If it's a rotational piece, great, rotational piece. We're not going to re-sign Dana. But he needs to be out there, keep playing. And also, you're not putting him out there looking like Joshua Kando. Where Kando would literally run the wrong way. It'd be a running play going to his right, and he'd be running to his left looking for the ball. It was embarrassing when he was out there half the time. You couldn't play him. Physical specimen, no clue about the game of football. That wasn't Gelati. So I think Gelati. So I think he's. I put him in the winner category because they didn't draft a 3-down defensive end. If they drafted Reuben Bain, then Gelati is definitely moved
And let's
down
be
the
real,
depth
they
chart.
moved on for Mike Dana and Omenihu.
Yes, right. They don't need him. Thank God.
Those were his
Yeah,
contemporaries.
absolutely. But I think Rashard Smith is that because they revamped that entire running back room, and they may move him to a different position. They may just say you're a wide receiver now. That's your role.
D'Anthony Thomas.
Yeah, maybe.
Dexter McCluster.
If he goes to wide receivers, Jalen Royals a massive loser?
No, because they're so different.
Yeah.
I think if they don't re-sign Juju Smith-Schuster, then that's sort of what Jalen Royals, Rashee Rice, Juju, Jalen. I could understand why Jalen didn't play last year because, you had a couple of guys that kind of had that skill set ahead of him and allow him to get more familiar with the offense as a rookie. But there's not the redundancy of that particular skill set in the Chiefs offense unless they would have signed a Juwan Jennings or brought back or bring back Juju Smith-Schuster.
I want to look at who has the most pressure on him this year, and I think
Pressure.
I want to look at Harrison Butker's contract because I know they couldn't get out of it for this upcoming season, but if he does bad this year, can they get out of it after this year?
I think they can.
I believe so.
And it looks like, yeah, they can. They would save about $5 million.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to, I think Butker has, because it costs more to cut him than to keep him for this year. You're not doing that. It's you lose $3 million, and you would cut a guy who has been really good for the majority of his career.
He needs to turn back into Butker this year if they're going to make a run and win a Super Bowl, things like that.
But I think that's probably the guy I look at of who has the most pressure on him this year, player-wise. And maybe that's under the radar, but I think Butker's that guy.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about Devon Achane, and we also brought up some numbers as it relates to the Royals that is really concerning moving forward. As we called it, the strength for the Royals has to be the strength. And right now, that's not the case. We'll take a timeout. More so next. All right, a couple quick points before we wrap things up here and hand it off to the program with Soren Petro, Curtis Siebold, Cav. Devon Achane, 4 years, $64 million contract, up to 68, $16 million in annual average value, which is obviously more than Kenneth Walker. $32 million guaranteed, more than Kenneth Walker, but 32 guaranteed over 4 years. Kenneth Walker is the $29 million guaranteed over 3 years. So you're talking about, what, $8 million a year average guaranteed dollars for Achane versus nine and change for Walker. But if it's the total dollars, yeah, I mean,
basically a 2-year deal for Achane if Miami wants to leave after 2 years, they basically that's what it looks like to me for the guarantees.
Yep. And he was one of 38 players last year, or is one of only 38 players that since 2023 has had 172 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Of those 38 players, there's only one other running back on that list, and that's Christian McCaffrey. So that's what we know he's a good running back, but that's where you get the added value to his contract, is when you add the passing game in there. I think that increases the value. If Kenneth Walker had been a guy that had 45 or 50 receptions or 60 receptions last year, I think he's worth a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because of that element. But he was viewed by most as not a receiving back. So, that's but yeah, Achane gets a lot of money.
I think Achane's the better player.
I think so too.
I mean, I think it's fair.
Yeah. Totally fine. It's interesting that it was an extension and it wasn't like a free agent, because Breece Hall was a franchise tag, Kenneth Walker was a free agent, and he got more than both those guys on an extension.
I think he should. Again,
they could have gone the route of saying, we're going to let it play out, then we'll franchise tag you.
Who's Miami paying right now?
Well, that's a good point.
They're not paying Waddle. It's a 2-year deal basically, so it's like
you can front load it.
You can front load it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
For Miami, there's no reason to get sideways with right now your franchise player.
Yes, a guy that you said you weren't going to trade for obvious reasons. The Royals' strength needs to be the strength, and that's the starting pitching, and that hasn't been the case the last few games, where they're losing 3 in a row, and their starting pitchers have gone 4 innings, giving up 3 earned runs, 4 and 2, giving up 5, and 5 giving up 5. And Seth Lugo, before he signed his contract, in 52 starts for the Royals, averaged 6 2/3 every start, sub-3 ERA, .8 WHIP, and a 3.1 strikeout to walk ratio.
Can you guess what it is now?
Sure.
Less. And more.
Less and more. 16 games since signing the contract. 5.5 ERA. 1.65 WHIP. Averaging 5 1/3 innings pitched. And 1.75 strikeout to walk ratio. 85 innings, 41 walks. Doubled WHIP, halved strikeout to walk ratio, and almost doubled ERA, and an inning and a third less per start since signing the contract. He's got to figure it out because they still owe him about $40 million on that deal. Oof.